something going against Steve Scalise and had 130 to get the nomination after Steve Scalise failed to get 217. Now it's up over 200 Saturday, and now they say it's even closer now. They believe that if Jordan wants to be Speaker and he puts it to a vote and he's close, there'll be so much pressure on everybody else to get him out of this extreme embarrassment and avoid a deal with Democrats that they'll pass it. But that is a bit of a stretch. And that's saying that these Republicans have any sense of embarrassment. I'm not sure they do. They should. When we come back, Lieutenant Colonel Peter Lerner from Tel Aviv. He is the IDF spokesperson, is going to be coming your way with the latest. This is the Brian Kilmeade Show.
Politics. News.
Breaking in right now to the Brian Kilmeade Show with news from the House of Representatives. Elise Stefanik, Congresswoman Elise Stefanik, has taken to the podium as they begin their nomination for Speaker of the House. Let's listen in as Congresswoman Elise Stefanik makes her nomination.
On behalf of the House Republican Conference, I rise today to nominate the gentleman from Ohio, Jim Jordan, as Speaker of the People's House. We are at a time of great crisis across America, a time of historic challenges in this very chamber, and a time when heinous acts of terror and evil have been committed against our great ally, Israel. As this body convenes for the sacred responsibility to elect the next Speaker of the People's House, I am reminded of the Book of Esther. For such a time is this. Jim Jordan will be America's Speaker for such a time as this. A time when hardworking American families are struggling under the vice of inflation, not able to afford groceries, heat, or gas because of the trillions and trillions of dollars of reckless spending by failed far-left government. A time when millions are being illegally trafficked and smuggled across our southern and northern borders due to the catastrophic and inhumane wide-open borders of Joe Biden. A time when violent crime is skyrocketing across America, destroying our great cities, suburbs, and small towns, where people no longer feel safe in their homes or in their communities. A time when American energy production has been crushed by Joe Biden's radical, failed, far-left policies, causing seniors, farmers, and families to pay more at the pump and struggle with skyrocketing utility bills. A time when the federal government is weaponized against we the people, who they are supposed to serve, stripping us of our God-given constitutional rights and wrongfully targeting conservatives, Catholics, and even parents at school board meetings. And a time when the people of our closest and most precious ally, Israel, suffered the bloodiest day since the Holocaust, with acts of inhumane evil committed by Hamas terrorists backed by Iran, grotesque atrocities, the beheadings of babies, rapes, kidnappings, and slaughter of women, children, and the elderly, and Israelis and Americans taken hostage. We are here in this very chamber for such a time as this. Jim Jordan will be we the people's Speaker for such a time as this. Our friend and colleague Jim Jordan is a patriot. He is an America First warrior who wins the toughest of fights, going after corruption and delivering accountability at the highest levels of government.
We are listening now to Congresswoman Elise Stefanik as she delivers the nomination for Jim Jordan for House Speaker. We are going to be covering this live throughout the course of today's broadcast, and we are going to watch as they now go to vote for Jim Jordan for Speaker of the House. And as you can see If you go back and you watch some of this, I'm going to illustrate for you a bit here. Elise Stefanik took to the podium, and as she took to the podium, she was standing with Jim Jordan, was over her left shoulder on the right side of the screen. You could see him in there. And in the row, immediately behind where we could see Jim Jordan sitting there accepting, we presume, the nomination for the Speaker of the House, in the row directly behind sat Kevin McCarthy. So we are going to listen in now to, let's see here. Is this the Democrats who speak? Let's listen in and see what speech is taking place now. Congressman Aguilar nominating Hakeem Jeffries for House Speaker. So we are going to...
Mr. Speaker Pro Tem, this is not the history we wanted to make here in the House. It's something that none of us imagined when we were sworn in to this office. We are here because the House has been thrown into chaos. We are here because this hallowed chamber has been led to a breaking point by two dangerous forces: extremism and partisanship. The American people place their faith in us to tackle their most pressing issues: lowering costs, growing the middle class, and standing up to those set on delivering a national abortion ban. The choice before us is simple: come together on a bipartisan path forward, or take us over the cliff. Abandon the extremism that is preventing us from getting things done, or triple down on division and dysfunction. A vote today to make the architect of a nationwide abortion ban a vocal election denier and an insurrection insider to the Speaker of this House would be a terrible message to the country and our allies. Mr. Speaker, it would send an even more troubling message to our enemies, that the very people who would seek to undermine democracy are rewarded with positions of immense power. We are talking about someone who has spent his entire career trying to hold our country back, putting our national security in danger, attempting government shutdown after government shutdown, wasting taxpayer dollars on baseless investigations with dead ends, authoring the very bill that would ban abortion nationwide without exceptions, and inciting violence on this chamber. Even leaders of his own party have called him a legislative terrorist. He once said, quote, "I didn't come to Congress to make more laws." His words speak for themselves. When New Yorkers recovering from Hurricane Sandy needed Congress to act, he said no. When wildfires ravaged the West, destroying homes and businesses, and those residents needed disaster assistance, he said no. When the Mississippi River floods devastated the South and communities across state lines needed Congress to act, he said no. When our veterans were suffering from disease and dying as a result of their service to our country, and Congress passed a bipartisan solution, he said no. When our ally in Ukraine looked to Congress for additional support to help defeat Putin, he said no. And just before Hamas's brutal terrorist attack on Israel, he said no to fully funding military aid for our ally. This body is debating elevating a speaker nominee who has not passed a single bill in 16 years. These are not the actions of someone interested in governing or bettering the lives of everyday Americans. This is nothing less than the rejection of the oath that we swore to uphold as duly elected members of this body. But on this side of the aisle and throughout this chamber, I'm convinced our oath still matters. To fulfill our obligations to the American people, we have no choice today but to vote for a leader of both character and conviction. When the Congress first began, we proudly stood next to him as our leader and made a promise to every American. House Democrats would work to find common ground on the issues that matter most, to the American people whenever possible. That we would stand up to extremism whenever necessary. Only Hakeem Jeffries can be trusted to keep his word. Only Hakeem Jeffries can lead us out of the chaos and towards a path of governance. It brings me immense pride to nominate our friend, the Democratic leader, Hakeem Jeffries, as Speaker. Almost. I'm not done yet. He may just be the candidate with the most votes, but he is also the candidate with the most credibility. If the goal is to continue a 30-year march to hollow out our democratic institutions, weaken our democracy, and embolden extremists, there's a candidate for you. If the goal is to continue taking marching orders from a twice-impeached former president with more than 90 pending felony charges, then there is a candidate for you. The world is watching, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. Our allies in Ukraine and Israel are watching and waiting. So let's have this vote, but let's be clear. A vote for the gentleman from Ohio is a vote to turn your back on national security. It's a vote to turn your back on a bipartisan path to fund the government and avoid shutdowns, something we can only do if we reject his nomination. House Democrats are in the minority. We realize that. If House Republicans wanted to elect a speaker without us, then they could have. There is still a path forward for both Democrats and Republicans to come together to elect a speaker who can unite us behind a common purpose, keeping the government open on a bipartisan compromise that won more than 300 votes just 4 months ago in this chamber, taking up an up or down vote on help so Israel can defeat Hamas and Ukraine can defeat Putin, and reassuring the American people that their legislators have their backs. It's that simple, Mr. Speaker, and we can do it today. Let's work together. Let's elect a speaker who will reach out a hand of bipartisanship and deliver for the American people. That is why, once again, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem, I'm proud to nominate Hakeem Jeffries for Speaker and yield back.
The gentleman yields back. The gentleman yields back. The names of the Honorable Jim Jordan, a representative from the state of Ohio, and the Honorable Hakeem Jeffries, a representative from the state of New York, have been placed in nomination. Are there further nominations? There being no further nominations, the chair appoints the following tellers. The gentleman from Wisconsin, Mr. Stile. The gentleman from New York, Mr. Morelli. The gentleman from Georgia, Mr. Loudermilk. The gentlewoman from Alabama, Ms. Sewell. The tellers will come forward and take their seats at the desk in front of the Speaker's rostrum.
So while this is playing up here underneath, we are listening in as they are about to commence on the speaker vote. Elise Stefanik has nominated Jim Jordan, and now we wait to see what happens next. We are going to have live coverage of this as it happens. We have a great show on the Annie Frey Show, which is about to start here in a few minutes as well. So let's take a quick break right now, and we will dip in as any news happens, as any news breaks, right here on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis's home for conservative talk. You're in the right place. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with the news as it happens.
Getting started on that next great project in your backyard and having 4 years interest-free financing to pay for it. Mark Cox here. Call my friends at Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Mention my name, and they'll give you 48 months interest-free financing. That's 636-532-4054. Get started today. Get your free estimate. The fantastic thing about Chesterfield Fence and Deck, they've been around 55 years, operated by the same ownership all that time, and they take a lot of pride pride in what they do, they will give you no obligation estimates and free project design. Maybe you've got a great idea for the backyard, or maybe you'd like them to bring something to show you that a neighbor has done. Whatever that happens to be, fences, decks, pergolas, sunrooms, screen rooms, patios, they can handle it at Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Remember, tell them you heard Mark Cox talking about it. Get 48 months interest-free. Go online today to chesterfieldfence.com.
Men, if you're struggling with erectile dysfunction or PE, the medical providers at Paramount Men's Medical Center offer breakthrough treatments that eliminate problems in the bedroom without pain or surgery. Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Paramount Men's Medical Center offers the most advanced treatments to eliminate ED and PE. 98% of men experience instant results on their first office visit. They're even lasting 90 minutes or longer, regardless of age or medical history.
Don't just take our word for it. Call Paramount Men's Medical Center now for our limited time offer. Your initial consultation and first treatment are completely free. You'll see instant results right in the office. You'll even get a gift that enhances your performance in the bedroom. All this, worth hundreds of dollars, is free if you call now. 314-720-8081. 314-720-8081. That's 314-720-8081.
I was having a lot of sinus infections. My sinuses were clogged, pressure, headaches.
Linda suffered for years with chronic sinus infections.
You don't feel like doing anything. When you feel like your head is completely clogged, all you want to do is just lay down and sleep. And the pressure, it's just not fun, always walking around with a headache.
Now, her issues are gone. How? A minimally invasive procedure done in the office of St. Louis Sinus Centers called balloon sinuplasty.
I really did not know what it was like to feel like you're really breathing and not being so clogged up. I would do it again in a heartbeat, and I would definitely recommend it for someone else.
Do you suffer with chronic sinus infections, facial pain, pressure, congestion? Find out if balloon sinuplasty is the solution for you. Set an appointment today with St. Louis Sinus Centers. Call 314-332-2885. 314-332-2885. That's 314.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
The U.S. House heading for a vote on a new speaker. Elise Brady, Fox News.
I am reminded of the Book of Esther. For such a time is this.
Republican Conference Chair Elise Stefanik nominating Judiciary Committee Chair Jim Jordan, who won the conference vote last week.
Jim Jordan will be America's Speaker for such a time as this.
Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries being nominated for the Democrats.
You could have other people get nominated or even voted for on the House floor here. Here's the problem for Jim Jordan. We believe that he is about 8 to 10 votes shy of having what he needs.
Fox's chat program on Capitol Hill. Jordan is the second GOP nominee after Majority Leader Steve Scalise pulled out. Some Republicans are upset about the way he was treated. President Biden preparing to travel to Israel and Jordan for meetings with Israeli and Palestinian officials as Israel continues to prepare for a ground invasion of Gaza. Fox's Trey Yingst in southern Israel.
These soldiers come from reserve duty. Many thought Army life was over. But after the massacre last weekend, they leave behind young families and big dreams with one common goal.
I have to protect my people, the people I love, and I know that this Hamas can endanger them after what they did here, after they what they did to citizens, to innocent citizens that did nothing to them.
One Israeli official says Israel has attacked about 5,000 Hamas targets in the Gaza Strip, but has canceled a large number of other strikes in an effort to avoid Palestinian civilian casualties. General Motors tapping the brakes on production of new electric pickup trucks at a plant in Michigan, where they were supposed to start making the electric Chevy Silverado and GMC Sierra late next year. Instead, they'll wait another year, pushing it to late 2025. GM says it's to better manage capital investment and better align with evolving EV demand. America is listening to Fox News.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
At SimpliSafe, we've designed award-winning home security with advanced sensors, HD cameras, and now this, 24/7 LifeGuard protection, only from SimpliSafe. Now, monitoring agents can see and speak to intruders through our new indoor camera to help stop crime in real time and for fast police response. Get 20% off any new system with Fast Protect monitoring at simplisafe.com/radio. Advanced home security, 24/7 professional monitoring for less than $1 a day. There's no safe like SimpliSafe.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
A very enjoyable weather afternoon on this Tuesday. Sunshine in control. 68 should do it for the high. Tonight, clear skies. Out of the 60s into the upper 50s this evening. 45 for the low Wednesday, partly sunny. A little bit warmer Wednesday afternoon, 72. A couple of spotty little light rain showers around Wednesday night and Thursday. Do not expect much. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
ClassicKitchenRefacing.com. Go to the website and start shopping for your brand new modernized kitchen for less. That's the key here. When you've been thinking about renovating your kitchen, you've kind of priced it out a little bit, and then you go, whoa, that's a pretty penny. This is where Classic Kitchen Refacing comes in because the results are the same. Absolutely stunning, beautiful, modern kitchen for way less. They come in and instead of going through a complete and total replacement of those cabinets, which is a huge chunk of change, they are able to take the cabinets that are in your house right now and refinish them with a beautiful wood finish, a paint color of your choosing, and then they add in the other trimmings that are going to really bring your kitchen into 2023. How about beautiful Cambria quartz countertops that are stunning? They pull in the whole kitchen into a very, very modern look with a beautiful backsplash that is going to highlight the colors that you want, the look that you want, along with those finishes down to the very detail of the knobs on your cabinets, the hinges. They know how to do this, but they know how to do it for less. They're in St. Anne. They're waiting for your phone call, 314-739-1730, 314-739-1730, ClassicKitchenRefacing.com.
Mark Cox here. Before you sell your home, you should know the facts. What's your home's true value? Which realtor will get you the most money? And as a seller, is the market still in your favor? I spent some time with my friend Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Here's what she told me. The market is still in the seller's favor. However, these next few months before the holidays represent the last prime time to sell your home. Gloria said everyone knows you can't time the real estate market. However, you can sell your home in the months that are statistically the most profitable to sell real estate. For the past 20 years, Gloria's been successfully selling homes in our area. How's she been so successful? She already has the buyers, which allows her to guarantee to sell your home at your pre-agreed upon price and time frame, or she'll buy it. Call Gloria Liu at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888. Or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
This station is now conducting a test of the emergency alert system.
One in 4 car batteries is weak and needs to be replaced. Let the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts test your battery for free. They can also help you find the best Super Start battery for your vehicle. Learn more at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how to link to the market without the risk. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go online to retirementkey.com.
This hour of the Annie Frey Show is brought to you by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Davids of Kansas. Jeffries.
So we are listening in right
Davidson.
now. Keep this up for a second here.
Jordan.
We are listening for the vote now.
Davis of Illinois.
The House Speaker vote is in progress. And right now they're in the D's.
Davis of North Carolina.
There are 435 members of the House of Representatives, so this is going to take just a little bit. We're watching. The vote totals are Jim Jordan, 44, Hakeem Jeffries, the minority leader for the Democrats, 53, and Kevin McCarthy has 2 votes. I think that I heard that he can lose 4 votes, maybe, but it depends on how many people are present, because if one person is not there to vote, then the majority to win changes. So we wait and see. Now, if you're tuning in right now and you see, oh my gosh, Hakeem Jeffries has 53 votes, Jim Jordan only 45, can a Democrat become the Speaker of the House when they don't have the majority? The answer to that is yes. A Democrat can if the Democrat vote is higher at the end and the majority, if they're able to get the majority of votes in the House. They don't have to be in the majority to be the Speaker. The likelihood of Jeffries getting this is very slim, but the possibility does exist. So honestly, I can't think of a bigger political peril for the Republicans to be in if they manage to fumble this into a Democrat Speaker of the House. That would really be quite something. Steve Scalise has just gotten 1 vote as well. So Jim Jordan has lost 3 votes from the Republicans. And let's turn it up here a little bit and see where they're at right now.
Jordan.
Next vote.
Duarte.
Still in the D's.
Jordan.
52, he's 51, he's making
Duncan.
a comeback. I mean, this literally is going to go back and forth.
Jordan.
The entire day. So we are going to...
Dunn of Florida.
Listen to this. We'll pull that back down, Brad. And we're going to bring to you the news as it continues to happen. We are monitoring it live on our YouTube chat as well. So join us over there. The YouTube live chat poll for today is, did Matt Gaetz do the right thing? Yes or no? Where you are on this question right now might be different based on what happens after this vote. If Jim Jordan is able to pull this off, we have a new speaker. You like Jim Jordan more than Kevin McCarthy, you might be a solid yes on this particular poll. If you feel as though this has been a sideshow and you think Matt Gaetz did this for purely personal reasons, not for the benefit of the American people and the country that he represents, you might be an absolutely not. He did not do the right thing. This is where your comments come in on the Annie Frey YouTube live chat. A couple of people here have said so far on the poll, they voted. Chris says yes, 100% yes. McCarthy did not keep his promises. Gaetz had the you-know-whats to call him out and have him removed, risking his political career. I would definitely, he's pretty secure in Florida, but he has definitely made himself more of a household name in doing so. Diane says, I vote yes. It's never a good time to make seismic changes. If someone doesn't move forward, the same bad practices continue, ruling by CRs to avoid tough decisions and remain in comfort zones. So 2 of your comments so far here on the Annie Frey Show live chat poll. We want to know what you think. Go give us a vote and a comment and weigh in. As we continue to watch here, Jordan back up to 62 votes, and Hakeem Jeffries, the Democrat, at 62 votes. I have 2 Fox News televisions on in here, and one's a little bit behind. So I watched. I'm like, oh, Jim Jordan is up. And then
63. We're tied.
63. Scalise has 1. McCarthy has 2. I don't think that people should get too bent out of shape on the first ballot. I can see in this dramatic look at me time that we're in with the House Republicans that there are going to be people who want to show frustration with the way things have gone before. Matt Gaetz just voted for Jim Jordan. That just happened right now. Matt Gaetz stood up and cast his vote for Jim Jordan. I think that matters as part of this story. Brad, you brought this up before yesterday when we were talking about Matt Gaetz, and you were saying to me, Matt Gaetz really is a big fan of anybody else for speaker. Like, he's all in.
Yeah. Yeah, he is. He was good for Scalise. He was good for Jordan. Actually, Scalise was his choice over Jordan. He's looking for anybody to be speaker. And I'm wondering, like, I don't know. I said this yesterday. He kind of has that, oh, man, I messed up kind of vibe about him. But at the same time, he might just not have liked Kevin McCarthy and didn't want McCarthy in there. And his whole stance was, anybody but McCarthy, I'll vote for anybody.
I'm going to be honest. I don't know if Matt Gaetz has the, oh no, I messed up gene. I wonder if that is part of his genetic code. He seems as though I'm turned off by it. He's not my representative. My representative is Nikki Budzinski, and she's a Democrat, and she's voting for Hakeem Jeffries. I take Matt Gaetz over.
Yeah.
I don't detest him. I don't want to expel him from the House, but I wish that we would start focusing more on getting to the business of the people. I heard Emily Compagno and Outnumbered leading into the show today, because I often watch Fox News' coverage before I start my show, and she was saying, there is a lot of frustration about the way that Matt Gaetz went about this business. There's a lot of dissatisfaction that he was able to do what he did, pull the rug out of the entire House of Representatives, because he had a frustration with Kevin McCarthy that maybe a lot of people shared, but also at the same time had a lot of personal undertones to it. And that in return to Matt Gaetz, you have other people who are now voting on, quote, principle to say that they are frustrated with Matt Gaetz. So now that they're frustrated with Matt Gaetz, they're going to show him as well, which, well, if you look at the board, the speaker vote board right now, Jim Jordan has 72 votes. Hakeem Jeffries has 74 votes. Steve Scalise now has 4 votes. Kevin McCarthy, it just went down to 3. This is happening real time, people. Scalise has 3 votes. Kevin McCarthy has 3 votes. 6 votes is too many, unless there is a quorum differential that is unusual, that it would appear that on the first ballot, Jim Jordan is not the guy. If that is the case, because you have to have a majority of the whole House, if that is the case, then it will go to a second ballot and then a third ballot. It took, 15 ballots, 16, 17 ballots?
Yeah, it was something like that for
Kevin McCarthy to get the speakership. So just because it doesn't happen this time doesn't mean it won't happen the next time. I wouldn't be surprised if there are people who want to, on the first ballot, cast their vote for someone else as a protest to Matt Gaetz. Is there any other way to do this? Is there any other way to protest Matt Gaetz? And Matt Gaetz, I mean, is there any other way to go about this business that isn't dragging down the American people's business? It's so frustrating to consume.
Yeah. It's incredibly frustrating to me. I'm incredibly annoyed by this because, like, the best thing I think the Republicans could have done here is come in, first ballot, Jim Jordan, Speaker of the House, which, let me remind you, Jim Jordan as Speaker of the House is going to be the most abrasive thing to the Democrats in the House. They had Kevin McCarthy. They said, hey, you know what we can do? We can chide the Republicans. We can throw their House into disarray by getting rid of Kevin McCarthy. And the response of the Republicans to be Jim Jordan, first ballot, all right, let's go, that would have completely flipped the Democrats and made them look like fools for doing what they did because they traded McCarthy for somebody that they really hate, which is Jim Jordan.
So as people continue to comment and vote here on the Annie Frey YouTube channel, we have Edward who says, as a Democrat, yes, Gaetz did the right thing because this clown show is just going to give Dems the majority next year. You can't do what Gaetz did without a plan. Take that for what it's worth, but I think it's a good sentiment to add to this conversation right now. Sheepdog said, I voted no because the devil you know is better than the one you don't. Richie says Gaetz did the right thing. McCarthy did not keep his word. And Bob says, I say no. I want to like Matt Gaetz, but he keeps doing things like this that I feel are more about him than governing with a slim majority and building his support for the vision he has. So let's keep them coming. While this vote is going on, we have Jordan 91, Scalise 3, McCarthy 3. Those are all the Republicans. Jeffries 85. There are others in the Democrat pile, I guess, there that are that have voted 3. Nobody has voted present yet. I want to play for you. Let's get the my stinger up here. I want to play for you Donald Trump. There's so many things happening right here in the midst of all of this news breaking. Donald Trump was speaking at the outside of in the courtroom of as his civil trial resumes in New York City. And let's listen into what he had to say here.
The real numbers are more. They're conservative financial. They said, oh, the financial statements are valued higher. The financial statements are at a lower number. They're conservative. So there is no fraud. Number 2, we have a reliance clause. We have what's called a disclaimer right up front, all over it. All over the financial. It says, don't rely on these financial statements. Do your own due diligence. Do your own analysis. So there's no fraud. And number 3, I said before, I'm being tried under a statute that nobody has ever been tried under. That doesn't give me a jury, that doesn't give me any rights whatsoever. They can do whatever they want. And it's a disgrace. Now it's turned out that I have great financial statements. It's turned out that the company is worth much more than the financial statements. They were saying just the opposite. They valued things at ridiculous numbers, like Mar-a-Lago at $18 million, when it's worth perhaps 100 times that amount. Perhaps 100 times. The fact is we have a corrupt legal system in New York City and New York State. And you know what? We have a corrupt legal system in our country. The DOJ is corrupt. And they're leading this whole thing for election interference. Thank you very much.
So President Trump walking away there and making his case. I don't really know that he said anything there that he hasn't said multiple times. He's saying he's innocent. He's saying it's corrupt. And then it's election interference. And all those things could very well still be accurate and true. The vote's still going on right now. Jim Jordan with 98 votes. Hakeem Jeffries with 95. Scalise has 3. McCarthy has 3. Let's listen in here, Brad, and see where we are on the votes.
Captor.
Who?
Liberty first. The Honorable Hakeem
Jeffries.
Kane
of New Jersey.
Vomit.
Kane.
Jordan.
Scalise just went up
Keating.
before.
Jeffries. Kelly of Illinois. Jeffries. Kelly of Mississippi. Jordan.
All right. Well, we are listening live right now to the vote as it happens on Capitol Hill. The vote for the speakership. It is unlikely that Jim Jordan will win the first vote, the first ballot. I'm 99% sure that before the vote is closed, people are allowed to come vote if maybe they weren't present at the given time. And people are also allowed to change their votes before the vote is closed, just to make sure that everything is recorded appropriately. So we will continue to watch and wait. When we return, are we going to speak with Brooke when we come back? Is that the idea?
I'm working on. I'm texting with him right now as we speak. So that's the plan.
The plan, as we know, a lot of moving parts today. Yeah. We started early today. We're going to connect with Brooke Goldstein. She's the executive director of the Lawfare Project. She's the founder and director of the Children's Rights Institute, and she's the author of End Jew Hatred, a manual for mobilization. She has been speaking out against the growing anti-Semitic culture that we have seen on campuses around the country and some of our big cities. And we wanted to take this opportunity to speak with Brooke Brooke Goldstein in this moment while we are watching war in Israel and the Gaza Strip, to give Brooke Goldstein an opportunity to talk to us about this particular very important subject. We're going to take a quick break. We are going to continue to follow the speaker vote as it continues. I have a feeling it's going to go to a second vote, second ballot. You're going to be in the right place all day long. When the news breaks, 97.1 FM Talk will have it for you on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Thank you for being here. We'll be right back.
You can tell me what you see.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
This body is yours. This body is yours and mine.
RulerFoods.com. If you are looking to save on groceries, you need to go to Ruler Foods. Go there at least once. If you've put it off, spend some time, a little quick afternoon stop, and walk around the Ruler Foods closest to you. If you don't know where it is closest to you, just go to RulerFoods.com and pop up the zip code there, and you'll find the one that's closest to you. They have amazing sales right now and everything you need for chili, and we love chili in the Frey household. Everything is under $2. Kroger Petite Diced Tomatoes, 85 cents. Tomato juice, $1.99. Kroger Diced Tomatoes, 85 cents. 10 for $10. Brooks Mild Chili Beans and Kroger Saltines, $1.29. Save on your chili, and it is perfect weather for that this week. Also, you can save on your mix and match 4 for $5 deals. Armor Lunch Makers, Kroger Deluxe Shells or Idaho and Potatoes, Snack Pack Pudding or Kroger Applesauce Cups, all 4 for $5. If you are looking to save on the name brands that you love to shop, if you are looking to get great produce and save, if you are looking to make even more savings by buying Kroger brands at Ruler Foods prices, you just need to make the stop. Give it one opportunity to shop in a well-organized, easy to move through location close to you. Go to rulerfoods.com.
Are you the parent of a 2 to 7-year-old? Listen closely for an exciting free radio offer. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse, the Parents' Choice Award-winning online learning program that's actually changing the lives of early learners everywhere.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
Right now, we're offering a special radio promo to try it free for a month. But you have to go to abcmouse.com/radio to claim your free month. That's abcmouse.com/radio.
Sponsored by Age of Learning.
Every 40 seconds, a child is reported missing. Find the Children is a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping find missing kids. You can be a part of their mission by donating your unwanted car. Call 1-800-775-5622. You'll receive the maximum tax deduction, and we provide fast, free pickup. Call 1-800-775-5622. Donate your unwanted or unused car. Call 1-800-775-5622. This advertisement was paid for by Cars R Us and Find the Children.
How would you like to make no mortgage payments until next year? Are you tired of making minimum payments on high-interest credit cards? Is student loan repayment giving you the blues? Your home equity is at an all-time high. Use that equity to save hundreds every month. Call 314-567-GOLD now and give yourself a payment break. That's 314-567-GOLD. Or visit goldenoaklending.com. NMLS 114937.
Hi, this is Brian with Velocity Home Buyers, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 314-782-3333. I can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. I buy houses in any condition and any price range in the St. Louis area. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy more. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that needs updating, but you don't have the time or money for it? Great, because I love buying outdated houses. I buy vacant houses, job relocation houses, and foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 314-782-3333. That's 314-782-3333.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing, together millions of things for our planet. As autumn temperatures get cooler, here are some simple things you can do to help out the environment. Remove any window air conditioners. Check window and door seals for proper insulation to keep heat in and cold air out. and replace the air filter in your furnace to keep it running at peak efficiency all winter long. When we each share our one thing, it becomes 100 things, 1,000 things, 1,000,000 things for our planet. What's your one thing?
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is hiring licensed journeymen. Don't have a journeyman license? Air Comfort Service will help you get it. Get guaranteed hours year-round and more. Apply online at aircomfortservice.com. Kelsey's Hope Foundation is supporting children with cancer and their families. Annie here, 97.1 FM Talk is proud to support Kelsey's Hope. Give back at Bobby's Frozen Custards Trunk or Treat on October 26th or the Tree of Hope Gala on November 18th.
White lies and desperation, hard times.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Never love me like you do. Sometimes my bad decisions define my false suspicions, and no one should ever love me like you do. While I'm on this road, you take my hand somehow. You really love who I really am.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Thank you for being with us. We are monitoring right now the vote for the House Speaker. Jim Jordan is up 144 to Jeffries 138. Scalise has 4 and McCarthy has 5 votes, which means it's not going to be a first ballot victory for Jim Jordan unless something quite unusual unfolds here. We are also covering all of the other news that continues to happen. So as that vote tally is commencing, we are on it, but we are also going to shift to a guest now. I'm excited to welcome onto the show Brooke Goldstein, who's the executive director of the Lawfare Project, founder and director of the Children's Rights Institute, and author of End Jew Hatred, A Manual for Mobilization. Brooke, thank you for being here today. It's a pleasure to speak with you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm grateful.
So I wanted to give you an opportunity. I saw you on Fox News this past weekend, and I know that you've been talking about this issue that is incredibly important to you, but should be important to all of us. As we watch what's taking place in Israel, we have seen across our country and across the world just anti-Semitic types of protests that have come up. A lot of it is on college campuses. And I wanted to give you an opportunity to highlight some of these events and really give us a picture of what Jewish people across the globe right now are dealing with.
So actually what's happening is quite scary. I don't think it's an issue just for Jews. I think this is a national security threat to the United States of America. There was a recent bill that was proposed by Republicans that dealt with a hypothetical of whether or not, if there are Palestinian refugees, should we take them? And people have been asking questions about that. But I think the elephant in the room is we have Hamas here already within the United States. We have the Muslim Brotherhood here in the United States. They are actively operating on campuses through groups like Students for Justice in Palestine or Wool Palestine, who are either terror affiliated or outward supporters of Hamas terror. They are having protests with hundreds of people. Just recently at Columbia, the Jewish students were locked in a room by security for their own safety, apparently, while hundreds of people marched across Columbia University chanting pro-terror slogans and expressing support for the disgusting genocide that is happening, but also not just in Israel, but also calling to globalize the intifada, to bring it here. Now, if terrorists breached the Israeli border, how easy do you think it is for them to be coming through our southern border, which is basically open? And they have been coming. And we have Hezbollah sleeper cells in the United States. And Iran has been very open about this, actually. It's not a secret. But there was a coordinated campaign because people like me have been warning about this for 10 plus years. And there's been a coordinated campaign to try and silence us and defame us as though we're Islamophobic for talking about these issues of national security. What's happening on campus, the infiltration, the funding by Qatar, $10 billion a year. Sorry, $10 billion plus 10 years. That's $1 billion a year. The money in the millions going to Harvard, going to Carnegie Mellon, going to Northwestern University. They are allegedly setting up diversity, equity, inclusion departments, Middle Eastern studies departments, chairs, and they're fomenting a great deal, to say the least, of hostility against Jews on campus, but now they're also fomenting anti-Americanism and pro-terror support out in the open, pro-terror support within our borders. Muslim Brotherhood affiliated organizations like the Council on American Islamic Relations has been operative within our borders for many, many years. We have, even at the highest levels of government, someone like Mr. Bitar, who is the advisor to President Biden, who also is some sort of head in a national security division. He was a former board member of Students for Justice in Palestine. Students in Justice for Palestine was set up by American Muslims for Palestine, which is a Muslim Brotherhood front organization. They've been called the pro-Hamas PR group on campus. They are terror affiliated. The same people who founded AMP are the ones who are funding designated terrorists abroad. This was shown in one of the biggest counterterrorism cases in America, the Holy Land Foundation case. Those same people went on to found and support AMP, which then supports SJP. Wool Palestine, also active on campus, connected to PFLP, a designated terrorist group, the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine. This is in our shores. This is happening here. There are 4,000 police officers deployed in France to protect the Jews there. That's at least one police officer per 48 Jews, and they still couldn't contain the violence. And they're threatening violence on the streets of America. This is a huge national security threat. The FBI director went on record saying that what they're concerned about are lone wolf attacks. This is the most highly coordinated cross-organizational campaign that we've seen as a fifth column in this country in our history.
Brooke,
and I'm deeply concerned.
Yeah, I know that you've followed this closely. You didn't just start following this last week, for certain, but a lot of Americans are maybe waking up to this that maybe haven't been as close to it as you have. And I am looking very close at the institutionalization of this on our college campuses. And there are so many other cultural movements that have started in higher education with the captive audience of these students in these classrooms and the radicalization of a lot of ideas that are very counterculture. And when I went to college in the early 2000s, we were on the tail end of it's a place to discuss broad ideas and to have open conversation, to ask questions. We're at a departure from that right now because people are told what to think, not how to think in universities anymore. When you were talking about our open border and the fact that you listed all of those different entities that are here on our soil already, including Hamas, how does that go hand in hand with the institutionalization of this groupthink that is being input into our university systems?
Well, if you look at the Muslim Brotherhood plan of how to infiltrate, subvert, and destroy the United States of America, a big chunk of it deals with deceptive, coordinated PR campaigns, as well as infiltrating our institutions of higher learning. And this is being done through money. Qatar is buying influence in the United States, not just on campuses, but at the highest levels of government. And we've seen actually since the 70s, the active working on our campuses as an element of battlefield in an Islamist jihad. And this is something that they write about openly. But anyone in the counterterrorism community 10 years ago who was warning about this, again, was shunned because they wanted to keep it quiet. But now we see it out in the open. Everybody's out in the open about their pro-Hamas support. Back, I think it was about 6 or 7 years ago, maybe a little more, at Fordham University, they were openly fundraising on campus for a Hamas flotilla illegally. You know, back in the 70s, Yasser Arafat himself flew to San Francisco State University. Yasser Arafat was an Egyptian. He wasn't born in any fictitious state called Palestine. He was an Egyptian. And he flew from Egypt to San Francisco State University and established GUPS, the General Union of Palestinian Students, which then morphed into SJP, Students for Justice in Palestine. We sued San Francisco State University. And, one of the issues there, for example, was Professor Rabab Abdul Hadi, who was found to have flown to the Middle East and potentially engaged in aiding and abetting and unlawful material support for PFLP. So this is a strategy that we're all now waking up to. We're seeing the effects of it, and the unfortunate victims are American college students who are being radicalized. It's a very intense strategy, and we need to deal with it right now.
Yeah, in many cases in history, we can look back to a moment in time that looked a little bit like it does right now with the institutionalization of this anti-Semitic behavior. And we are not going to get a redo on the first time, but we have the opportunity to step in now. We're speaking with Brooke Goldstein. Her book, End Jew Hatred, A Manual for Mobilization, is out, as I understand, in April of 2024, but you can pre-order that book right now. Before I let you go, this is something I'm sure that you're used to here. We have people watching on our live YouTube broadcast. And one of the comments, I'm just going to read to you one of the comments from here because I want you to have the opportunity to respond. Paul says, a lot of assertions. What kind of proof do you have that these things are going on? For those who don't believe that this is actually taking place on American soil, Brooke, what do you say to those individuals?
Well, they should go visit these schools. They should see what's happening for themselves. They're very out in the open. You have someone like Joseph Massad, who is a professor at Columbia University, who just published an article in a pro-extremist outlet called the Electronic Intifada. Intifada means violent religious uprising. It's the justification for killing innocent civilians. He just published an article justifying the Hamas Holocaust, the genocide. And I want to say something. It's very important. After the Holocaust, we had a phenomenon of Holocaust denial.
Yeah.
And often the denial came from those who wished to see the Holocaust repeat, from the neo-Nazis. Even the Nazis were, what push comes to shove, at the end tried to hide what they had done. Okay, even though they did it openly for 6+ years. Not even before the dead are buried are we having the Hamas Holocaust denial. And these people are coming, show me proof a woman was raped.
Yeah.
What do you want me to do? Show you the GoPro? Show you the GoPro while he raped her? We see their naked bodies with their legs open, their hands bound behind their back, and their mouths tied, burnt alive. What do you need, the footage before that? Yeah. It's disgusting that Jews have to constantly be on the defense for being on the defense. If the world doesn't understand what happened, they can go see for themselves. We paraded journalists throughout who were almost throwing up because of the stench of rotting bodies. Enough with this bullshit denial. Go do the research, do the fact analysis yourself, and you'll see. Wake up.
Brooke, we appreciate your time today and bringing a very strong spotlight to the issues that are being faced there in Israel, but across the globe, especially here in the United States. And we will continue to shine that light. Brooke Goldstein, thank you for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
Bye-bye. Brooke Goldstein, Executive Director of the Lawfare Project, founder and director of the Children's Rights Institute, author of End Jew Hatred, A Manual for Mobilization. You can get that book on Amazon as a pre-order right now. It's out April 2024. Let's pop back in here and see which vote that they are on, whose name we are listening to.
Zeke.
Zeke.
Jordan.
So that might have been the last vote, unless there's somebody after Zeke here. Jordan with 199, Jeffries with 211. He's the Democrat minority leader. Scalise with 7, McCarthy with 5. Others vote totals at 4. Nobody has a majority of the House as a whole. So it's not just who gets the most in the vote. You have to have the majority, 50% plus one, in order to become the speaker. So it appears as though we are headed to a second ballot. We're going to take a quick break right now and rejoin here in just a few moments, and we will get you the results of the first ballot. Wait to see if anybody goes in to change any of their votes, and head to vote ballot number 2, potentially, here in just a minute. All of the live coverage you expect here on the Annie Frey Show on 97.1 FM Talk of the speaker vote. You want to know, we've got it here for you as it happens. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
My past was saying no one should ever love me like you do. While I'm on this road, you take my hand somehow. You really love who I really am.
CAJonesInc.com is the website. If you go to CAJonesInc.com/specials, you're going to be able to find out anything that they have going on right now, new offers for opportunities to get your brand new home build. They also have new home inventory available for sale right now on their website at CAJonesInc.com. Anytime you buy a home with C.A. Jones, you are going to enjoy a 10-year builder limited warranty. That includes a lifetime waterproof basement warranty. That is a very valuable thing to have with your brand new home from C.A. Jones. They provide many options of buildable plans with modern features at an affordable cost right there on their website. So if you're just starting to maybe consider a home build, I know people are looking at inventory that's available right now in the market, and maybe prices are just so high on a home that you don't love enough to pay that much. What if you built the home for yourself and picked everything out, made it look exactly the way you wanted, where you wanted it to look, how you wanted it? You can do that with C.A. Jones. They give back to the communities that they support. They love the military and the veterans, the first responders, and they offer specials to those individuals as well. If you're looking for a home and you're considering a home build, consider C.A. Jones on the Illinois side. Online at CAJonesInc.com.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they're very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They were in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
We've watched a lot of people get their house painted 3 or 4 times, and we haven't had to do any of it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to paint it every 5-7 years.
Take a tip from Rick and put down the paintbrush and call Rhino Shield for your free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago. Financially makes sense, especially if it's going to last like this did. Still looks great.
Call now. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
I was having a lot of sinus infections. My sinuses were clogged, pressure, headaches.
Linda suffered for years with chronic sinus infections.
You don't feel like doing anything. When you feel like your head is completely clogged, all you want to do is just lay down and sleep. And the pressure, it's just not fun, always walking around with a headache.
Now, her issues are gone. How? A minimally invasive procedure done in the office of St. Louis Sinus Centers called balloon sinuplasty.
I really did not know what it was like to feel like you're really breathing and not being so clogged up. I would do it again in a heartbeat, and I would definitely recommend it for someone else.
Do you suffer with chronic sinus infections, facial pain, pressure, congestion? Find out if balloon sinuplasty is the solution for you. Set an appointment today with St. Louis Sinus Centers. Call 314-332-2885. 314-332-2885. That's 314-332-2885.
Get ready, folks. Lakeside Renovation and Design is thrilled to invite you to our showroom grand reopening event on Saturday, October 21st from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's the remodeling event of the year. Unlock massive savings at our event thanks to exclusive partnerships with top vendors and suppliers, delicious catering from Sugar Fire, and fantastic giveaways throughout the day. Turn your remodeling dreams into reality. Mark your calendar for Saturday, October 21st from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Lakeside Renovation and Design. Design, where your dream home becomes reality.
Is your home ready for the holidays? Beat the holiday rush and call our cleaning heroes at Zero Res. Get the Mark Reardon special 3-room Zero Res clean starting at $129. You can also get $50 off your air duct cleaning when you call 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
Well, I'd be interested to know how you vote on this question right now versus even in an hour or two from now, because the House Speaker vote is happening as we speak. YouTube live chat poll of the day: did Matt Gaetz do the right thing? Yes or no? What is your vote and why at this very moment here at 12:45? This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Are we one of your top presets?
You were giving off that vibe, so if you want to take it to that level.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Hey girl, is he everything you wanted in a man? You know I gave you the world. You had me in the palm of your hand. So why your love went away? I just can't seem to understand.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Lots of news happening right here as we are covering it live. The vote for the Speaker of the House is commenced, and we are going to let's listen in to see what Chad Pergram has to say, as it appears as though the first ballot has wrapped and we don't have a speaker. Chad Pergram with the report.
And actually, right as you came to me, they called the name of Tom Cole, the Republican from Oklahoma, that there was a member, one of the members did not vote. So again, that's another one. So by my lay count here, we're up to about 17 total ballots against Jim Jordan. Remember when they came out of the conference meeting on Friday? You know, there were an awful lot of people. There were 81 Republicans who voted for Austin Scott, somebody who had not even run, the Republican from Georgia, didn't put any, blood, sweat, or tears into this, and commanded 81 votes. They got that number down into the mid-50s, and then they've been whittling away ever since then. And again, the biggest question that we can't seem to answer right now, and I just talked to one member who walked off the floor. I said, do we know what's going to happen next? We don't know. So what Jim Jordan has done here, this was part of his strategy, to go to the floor to figure out who were the persons against him, try to smoke out those members, and then maybe try to apply pressure. Now, I was told yesterday by a Republican source that this pressure campaign was a card best threatened and not played. So if they try to threaten some of these members you better vote for Jim Jordan, you light up the phone calls, people in the district, former President Trump, who of course has endorsed Jim Jordan for Speaker, could that backfire? Could that further cement the opposition to Jim Jordan? That is, in fact, possible, because some of these members, they are very upset right now. And don't forget just how emotional all this is for members. I spoke to one very senior Republican last night who said a lot of the members right now are in a desperate place. They're in a bad place. They're not making good decisions that are based on fact and precedent and everything else. They're doing this on emotion, and that's a problem as they try to get these go through these roll call votes. So what will happen here? They've gone through the rest of the alphabet. They have these tally clerks in the front of the chamber, and they will go through to make sure that everybody has a consistent number of total ballots cast, who all voted for Jordan, who all voted for Jeffries, Scalise, McCarthy, some of the cats and dogs that we had here, Lee Zeldin, Mike Garcia as well, and then they will go back and read that vote total. The question is, does the House vote to adjourn? That's very possible. Or does Jim Jordan, and there's a lot of caucuses going on the floor right now as members try to figure out what is next. What does Jim Jordan want to do? What is the best next step? And keep in mind that Jim Jordan, even though he knows who the people are that are against him and maybe can try to work with them a little bit, you also have a situation where people might say, I'm not changing at all. And so, that demonstrates the level of animosity inside the Republican conference right now. It's the animosity that stems from one wing of the Republican conference that ousted Kevin McCarthy as Speaker of the House 2 weeks ago today. And some members will try to communicate that urgency and say we have to get a Speaker because we have been vacant for 2 weeks now. That's a problem. We cannot legislate. So that's what the conversation is going to be over the next couple of minutes.
Chad, considering the right-hand side of the screen there, you see those 7 votes for Scalise. Can Scalise somehow throw those votes to Jordan? Obviously 1 vote per member, but obviously Scalise could hard sell them on changing their vote.
Right, and that's part of the question. Was this just a protest vote? That will be up to Kevin McCarthy. Can he, kind of unleash his people and send them in the direction of Jim Jordan, the people who voted there? The same thing with Steve Scalise. That's a question. Again, I cannot begin to underscore the level of animosity, the antipathy over some of the members, how they felt that Steve Scalise was treated last week after he got the nomination and then was undercut, they think, by Jim Jordan, and they went to the floor. So, yes, maybe that will be contingent upon them. Do they want to do that? Do they have the power to do that over those members? Members are very independent about their votes. It's one thing maybe to switch their position on voting for a bill or an amendment. When it comes to voting for Speaker of the House, where the microscope is so finely tuned and the lights are so bright, playing out right now on national television in the middle of a Congress, which we don't have very often, and we've had 2 such votes like this twice in the past 2 weeks, that changes everything. That will force some perhaps to want to change their vote because they feel the pressure, and others might harden their position and resist, Sandra.
Okay, so right now, they could go into a second ballot right away. There's some thinking, though, Chad, that there could be a recess here. They'll take the temperature of the members, and we're sort of just watching the sausage be made here, Chad.
Absolutely. And again, it takes a few minutes. I remember back during one of the speaker votes for Kevin McCarthy, it took almost a half hour to run through and figure out how long until they come back and make an announcement. But the next thing to watch for is what the official vote tally is on the floor. That's coming next.
All right. Chad
So we've been listening into the Fox News coverage and Chad Pergram's coverage right there from the House of Representatives as they look to vote on a speaker. The vote totals as they are right now, 200 for Jim Jordan, 212 for Jeffries, 20 for other folks. Those other votes, those 20 other votes, of which I think 6 were for Scalise, 7 were for McCarthy, all 20 of them are Republicans. So I know, and I will add that while 20 of those Republicans that are in the House right now did not vote for Jim Jordan, the Democrats having 212 votes, every single Democrat voting for Hakeem Jeffries, as is to be expected. What needs to happen is you have to have a majority of all voters present in order to win the speakership. And right now, I believe that number is 217. If they take a second vote and for some reason somebody has to leave, then that number will end up changing. So each ballot could be a different target for an individual to become the speaker. Can Hakeem Jeffries become the speaker? It's in the realm of possibility, a la Jim Carrey, so you're saying there's a chance. It's not going to happen. And if it does happen, Republicans are going to get so slaughtered in the next 2024 election, it won't even be, that would be one of the biggest political calamities that we have ever seen if the Republicans fumble it this much. So we have to figure out what these 20 holdouts are going to do. I think it's worth mentioning that Steve Scalise stood up and voted for Jim Jordan.
Steve Scalise voted Jim Jordan.
McCarthy?
Jim Jordan.
Matt Gaetz?
Jim Jordan.
Get it together, Republicans. Get it together right now. I mean, if these individuals are out there voting for Jim Jordan at this point, you've had your protest vote. You've made your voice be heard. Yes, we've heard you. We've heard you loud and clear. We understand. It's an S show out there. Not to use an unfortunate word there, but as we heard Sandra Smith there speaking, the sausage is being made right in front of you. This is the same thing that happened in January when they elected Kevin McCarthy the speaker. It took a lot of time. It took a lot of effort. And as we have moved through this, I said the first time, good, get this stuff done. Show that the American people, show that every representative that we send to Washington, D.C. matters. I can't stress this enough. You know who represents Congress in the 13th district in Illinois? Her name is Nikki Budzinski. You probably don't know her name. Do you remember the name Rodney Davis? Well, the Democrats who overlord themselves over the state of Illinois redrew the maps, took the Illinois 13th out of Rodney Davis's district, so he couldn't represent that district anymore or run to try to win again. And they drew it for Nikki Budzinski. They took it from the Metro East, snaked it through every college town from here all the way up to Champaign, and gave it to somebody who worked, I believe, in Dick Durbin's office, J.B. Pritzker's office, and then she moved into the district, and now she's the representative there. If that district was red, the Illinois 13th would have a great deal of influence on what happens in this vote. Every single congressional seat matters. Every single one of them. Matt Gaetz is one guy in one district, and he led this entire thing to happen. Is it for the better or for the worse? I think we still have to wait to find out. The YouTube live chat poll is asking you that question right now. Did Matt Gaetz do the right thing? Yes or no? If you go to the Anti-Frey YouTube channel, you'll see in the live chat portion of today's live broadcast that question. You can tell us if you think Matt Gaetz was right or wrong. You can leave a comment as well as to why you believe what you believe. We're going to get to Wiggins America later in the show, probably at about 1:45. Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg on the Anti-Frey Show. When we come back, don't go anywhere because we got the vote news live as it happens. We'll be right back.
The IRS definitely ramped up operations since the pandemic slowed them down, and activity only increases from here. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. If you're currently under audit or you haven't paid your taxes in the past, now's the time to call the Lance Story Law Firm. The IRS has a published Taxpayer Bill of Rights, which says you have the right to retain legal representation. Because IRS problems are legal problems, and the Lance Story Law Firm focuses specifically on addressing IRS issues for our clients. It's all we do. We get out in front of the IRS, devise the best resolution plan, and work to make sure you're able to take advantage of every program you're qualified to receive. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure company, call the Lance Story Law Firm. We're local, located right here in St. Louis, or visit Lance, DRURYlaw.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-238-7360.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Michael's Flooring Outlet online at igotfloored.com. This is where you go to pick up flooring from people just like you, locally owned and operated family business right here in St. Louis. They've got 3 locations for you to shop if you want to walk in and see what they have, feel it. The displays that they have really help you experience this flooring to make an educated decision why this finish and not that finish. If you're looking at this Mohawk Smart Strand carpeting, maybe you're considering this level of padding or that level of padding. When you shop at Michael's Flooring Outlet, this kind of American story, family business that has been built here and grown and expanded, it's really nice to be able to work with people who are dedicated to your flooring purchase. They're not people who work in paint on Tuesdays and flooring on Saturdays. They know flooring, and they can help make sure that your dollar, your hard-earned dollar, is spent on quality products with value that is respected. Visit them in St. Charles County, West County, or Darting Prairie online at igotfloored.com.
AMCO presents Bet You Didn't Know.
Bet you didn't know that your car's transmission is made up of 800 pieces. Also, bet you didn't know that AMCO's fixed over 40 million transmissions, and that AMCO offers a nationwide warranty.
AMCO offers easy payment plan options for most any credit situation, so you can fix it fast and pay it off slow at AMCO.
That's AMCO, AA, MCO.
When it comes to finding the perfect grill, family-owned and operated Cotton's Ace Hardware has you covered. Get free delivery and free fuel on any grills over $300, and free assembly and haul away of your old grills with the purchase of a new one. With a selection from Weber to Traeger and your local retailer of the Big Green Egg, Cotton's Ace Hardware makes it easier than ever to replace your old grill. Let Cotton's Ace Hardware make your family barbecue more enjoyable with that one-of-a-kind grill you've been looking for. Find your nearest St. Louis area location at cottonsacehardware.com.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is a Fox News alert. No House Speaker yet. I'm Lisa Brady. Judiciary Committee Chair Jim Jordan falling short on the first full House vote since Kevin McCarthy was ousted as Speaker 2 weeks ago.
No person having received a majority of the whole number of votes cast by surname, the Speaker has not been elected.
The House heading into recess for now instead of moving right on to a second ballot. Jordan was the second nominee of the House Republican caucus after Steve Scalise pulled out. Several Republicans voting for Scalise today and for McCarthy and others. Democrats lining up behind Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. Reports of mass casualties at a hospital in Gaza as Israel continues airstrikes it says are targeting Hamas militants. There's no confirmation of a hospital being hit at this point. Israeli forces continue preparation for an expected ground invasion of the Gaza Strip. Fox's Trey Yingst in southern Israel.
Soldiers here are clearly motivated for the battle to come, but some say they are scared. They understand there will be street-to-street urban warfare that they are going to face from Hamas and Islamic Jihad inside Gaza. All of this taking place as the country braces for the real possibility of this turning into a multi-front conflict with more attacks on the northern border today from Hezbollah.
Meantime, the armed wing of Hamas says it shelled the northern Israeli city of Haifa. The U.S. urging Israel to allow delivery of humanitarian supplies to Gaza. But the Hamas attacks on Israel also renewing scrutiny of a UN relief program in Gaza.
The Biden administration resumed contributions to the United Nations Relief and Works Agency, a group running schools and other aid organizations in Gaza and the West Bank. Critics argue the agency's resources have benefited Hamas. The Trump administration cut off U.S. funding in 2018.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. A taxpayer watchdog group says more than $1 billion have been obligated to that UN agency since President Biden took office. America is listening to Fox News.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
Here's something you've never heard before.
Stop. This is Simply Safe.
Introducing 24/7 Lifeguard Protection, only from Simply Safe Home Security. Now, monitoring agents can see and speak to intruders through our new indoor camera to help stop crime in real time and for fast police response. Get 20% off any new system with Fast Protect monitoring at simplysafe.com/radio. Advanced Home Security, 24/7 professional monitoring for less than $1 a day. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
A very enjoyable weather afternoon on this Tuesday. Sunshine in control. 68 should do it for the high. Tonight, clear skies. Out of the 60s into the upper 50s this evening. 45 for the low Wednesday, partly sunny. A little bit warmer Wednesday afternoon, 72. A couple of spotty little light rain showers around Wednesday night and Thursday. Do not expect much. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Air Comfort Service is online at aircomfortservice.com, and as the air is getting that cool, I just got a notification from my weather app. It was like, how much snow are you going to get this winter? And I thought, that's rude. But we are there. We're at that time. It's getting cold, and you need to make sure your furnace is in good working order. It's probably a good time to remind you to check that filter in your furnace. That's a little free advice that I probably need to follow myself. When you are looking to make sure that your furnace is working correctly, or if you already know it's not, Give the folks at Air Comfort Service the opportunity to take care of your HVAC system. Yes, the whole system. 314-513-0091. 314-513-0091. Air Comfort Service is there to help make sure that those maintenance checks that you can have on a monthly schedule, you can make sure if you sign up for the monthly schedule, you get the 12-month free, that you can avoid some of those costly repairs that sneak up on you because you haven't done the maintenance. And if it's time to replace your furnace system, Air Comfort Service has great rebate options for you, great financing to make it more affordable so you can stay in your comfort zone this winter. Get online at aircomfortservice.com.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired and wondering how long your money will last? Are you also sick of worrying about losing your life savings in the next market crash? I'm Thomas Helbig with the Retirement Advisory Group.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw. As a family business, we are committed to protecting your retirement, whether you're nearing retirement or already retired. Let us build your own personalized structured income plan, which will show you how much income you can receive in retirement, but more importantly, it will show you how long your money will last. Stop wondering if you have enough to retire comfortably.
Call us now at 314-993-9494 for a no-cost, no-obligation retirement review. We'll teach you the strategies you won't hear from your broker or banker. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. We've been helping our clients retire with confidence for the past 37 years. Let us help you. So go online at retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
97.1 FM Talk. You're here because the times, they are a-changing. St. Louis is home for conservative talk. 97.1 FM Talk.
Updating your home with James Hardie Siding has never been more popular. With all the options available, you need a partner to ensure you maximize your investment. Siding Express is ready to refresh the appearance of your home or totally transform the look by installing Hardie Shake, Board and Batten, lap siding, or a stone accent to make it your dream home again. Siding Express is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor. They also carry Anderson and Marvin windows and doors. Need ideas? Go to sidingexpress.com and schedule a free, no-obligation consultation today. sidingexpress.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
The vote is in. STL Today has certified the result. Onderlaw has been voted 2023's best law firm in St. Louis.
When you're injured, call Onderlaw at 314 or 618-9000000.
Hey, it's Bo Matthews, and if invasive plants and trees have overtaken your pasture, roads, trails, or dams, then you need Missouri Brush Control. Their special forestry mulching equipment helps landowners reclaim their property. Enjoy your land like you've always dreamed of. To learn more, visit MissouriBrushControl.com.
This hour of the Annie Frey Show is brought to you by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
We don't have to be stuck on the floor. The interesting part of why we're here, every single Democrat voted to stop one branch of government. They created this mess with 8 Republicans. Every single Democrat did that. And so I think what we'll do is we'll go sit down. We'll talk to those that have difference of opinion and come back.
Did the margin surprise you?
Excuse us. Thank you.
Kevin McCarthy speaking to the pool of reporters after Jim Jordan failed to get the speakership secured. They have recessed. It's possible they could vote again. We will wait and see. While we don't have a Speaker of the House, war wages in Israel and the presence of the United States nearby in waters has a lot of people going, what's going on? Do we have control of this situation? That's why we go to our guest here. Let's speak with Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg, retired. He's the former National Security Advisor of the Trump administration, and we're grateful to have him back on the show. Thank you for being with us again here, sir.
Annie, thank you for having me. Good to be with you.
I appreciate that very much. I want to give you the opportunity to kind of tie these two big news stories together, if you will. The absence of a speakership of a speaker in the House of Representatives might seem like a political thing, but it does seem as though there are acts of business that need to come out of the House of Representatives to support what America's role is, helping defend Israel, providing Israel with the resources that they need. Is that an accurate assessment?
Yeah, Annie, it is. You know, I go back to, there was a great cartoon character years ago by authored by a guy named Kelly. It was Pogo, and Pogo's greatest line was, "We have met the enemy, and he is us." You know, they just do it to themselves, and it makes us look stupid to the rest of the world. And I sit there watching it. I was watching the vote count, and you almost want to tell people, look, some of the people you're putting votes in, you know they're not going to win. So what kind of message are you sending to the rest of the world, that we're in disarray, we can't get anything together, there's no Speaker of the House, and there's a major war going on? You know, we've just put major warships in the eastern part of the Mediterranean. Not only the Eisenhower carrier strike groups coming in, but the Ford is there, and they're moving an amphibious ready group from the Bataan, from the Persian Gulf region there. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. Don't you think we ought to have a unified government? And I mean, what I mean by unified is elect a Speaker of the House so they can do some work. Yeah, so I'm with you on it. It's pretty frustrating just sitting and watching it.
We're speaking with retired Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg here about what is taking place in Israel as we watch the House Republicans and Democrats together try to elect a speaker. You've mentioned several of the maneuvers that the United States has made nearby in Israel. What is the American position right now in this conflict? I mean, we don't have boots on the ground. Where are we on this?
Yeah, it's a great question. Look, we've lost 30 Americans killed so far, and they say, you know, between 15 and 20 are still missing. You know, and when we went after and killed Soleimani in the previous administration, they had killed one American. Well, now they've killed 30. So, you know, we're kind of into the game, and one of the reasons I do believe that we put those carrier strike groups where they're at is to tell Tehran, back off. If you're involved at all, especially with Hezbollah to the north, which has got thousands of missiles pointed south towards Israel, don't go there, because we've got missiles too, and ours have a longer and better reach with the TLAMs. And let Israel solve the problem they've got with Hamas in the south. And I think one of the reasons they haven't gone in yet is I really do believe they're trying to figure out this hostage situation. You know, when they've got this many people that they're missing, well over 100, to include some Americans, and they're trying to figure out, okay, how do we try to get them back? And then if they go in, it's going to be a pretty intense and bloody conflict. They did this in 2014, Annie. In other words, the Israelis went into Gaza 2014. Were there for about a month. It's a pretty bloody fight. Anytime you go into a street fight, you basically go door to door, floor to floor. It's a pistol range. It's close-in fighting, and it really eats up the amount of troops that you have on the ground. And the Israelis have already had 300 soldiers killed. That's a significant number. They'll lose more there. You know, my preference, if I was king for a day, I'd stand back and let's hammer Gaza with artillery and airstrikes just to pulverize the area, and then force everybody to the south. Because if you send in troops, it's going to be it's potentially very, very horrific. We've had experiences like that in the American military. You know, and back in the Civil War, you know, Grant sent Sherman to the sea, and in the process he burned the city of Atlanta to the ground. In World War II, we destroyed Dresden. We recently U.S. military fought in Fallujah, places like that in Iraq. It's a tough fight. So they've got some big issues on their hand. I think, you know, the president's going to go there. And I'm hoping the biggest thing he can do is give Netanyahu some support, because we've lost those Americans, and tell the Iranians to back off. If you start something, we're going to finish it. We'll tell Supreme Leader Khamenei, don't do something dumb. We told them that when we killed Soleimani, and they didn't do something stupid. And we need to remind them that we have just the same military power today as we did then.
We're speaking with the co-chair of the Center for American Security at America First Policy Institute, retired Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg. I continue to hear about, you know, these 100,000 missiles, and I'm not any military expert, don't pretend to be, which is why we are so grateful for your presence here today. But I'm also thinking to myself of a lot of the political back and forth that we hear stateside about whether or not we have funded our own military to be able to provide for Ukraine, which is where we've been sending a lot of resources, now potentially Israel, but also the idea that we do have 30 Americans dead in this conflict and the potential of what could happen tomorrow. My question, Lieutenant General, is are we prepared here in America, funded and resourced to be able to fight and win?
Well, I think we're having a little bit of a problem right now, and it cuts, honestly, and it cuts across multiple levels. One is the readiness of the force out there, and they're not as ready as they were 5 years ago, 6 years ago. For example, flying hours. Where flying hours, we used to average about 30 hours per pilot. Now we're down to about 10. The Army missed their recruiting goals. They missed it last year and this year. The Navy missed their recruiting goals. The Air Force missed their recruiting goals. Only the Marines and the Space Force made their recruiting goals. When it comes to things like ammunition, look, we took 300,000 rounds of the War Reserve Stock ammunition. That's the term they use, War Reserve Stock ammunition. 300,000 rounds, sent them to Ukraine for use, 155 rounds. And we had to bring those back because that's what the Israelis are using. And it's almost like, okay, we have to look at, and the next administration will have to look really hard at the defense industrial base. We have to look at the military. I really do believe, and this is a harsh assessment, I know, that we forgot the primary role of the military is to deter, and if deterrence fails, fight and win our nation's wars. And I think that's become not a secondary role; it's a tertiary role. And I think I'm very, very concerned about the fighting attitude that we've got. And now we're facing three major potential global events. You're looking at China, Taiwan, you look at Ukraine, Russia, and you look at the Middle East. And you're seeing a surge all these forces all the way around. And it's not an easy picture to see. Frankly, I'm a little bit concerned about it, and I think everybody should be concerned about it. If a major war breaks out, I think it could be in the Middle East, it could be in the Far East, and I'd really watch China right now because they may see us really wrapped pretty heavy in Ukraine, Russia / Middle East, and who knows what they're going to do.
We're speaking with retired Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg. You were the former National Security Advisor to the Trump administration, and you just mentioned they're the next administration. According to my calculations, we have 385 days until the next election, and then, of course, the time in between then and the inauguration of the next president. How much could happen between now and that moment in time, and how drastically could a new administration affect what is going on in the world and that American deterrence through strength?
Well, everything emanates from the commander-in-chief. Under the Constitution, Article 2, Section 2, he is the commander-in-chief, and it's the will. And I heard a senator make that comment today. You can have the greatest military in the world, but if you haven't got the political will to use it and the knowledge to use it, then it's actually useless sitting there. And I remind everybody, and this is obviously parochial, but I reminded everybody that, former Secretary of Defense Bob Gaetz, and also a former CIA director, said, Joe Biden was wrong on nearly every national security issue in the last 40 years. And he's kind of pushing the envelope. He delays and he does things behind instead of being in front. And the greatest example is look how long it took us to get ATACMS in the Ukrainians' hands. They still don't have fighter jets that they need there. It took us a while to get those carrier units in position. But is he willing to use them? Is he willing to pick up the phone and warn off Khomeini of Iran that if you do something stupid, we have over 600 Tomahawk land attack missiles that can touch you. Each one has a 1,000-pound warhead on it, and we can make life really uncomfortable for you. So back off. Has he made that message? Does he know that? Look, when they killed a single American, the Iranians, that's when we killed Soleimani. We also picked up the phone and called, or had people do it for us because we didn't have direct contact. We told Khomeini, the supreme leader, that you were next. And here's the telling point on that one, just very quickly, is 3 days after we told them that, and they'd fired back at Al-Assad Air Base, didn't kill anybody. But remember, the Iranians shot down a Ukrainian airliner leaving Tehran. And that was because they thought we were actually coming after Khomeini. And it was one of those one of the big mistakes. That's when you've got credibility, and that's when they understand you're serious about it. Has this president done that? He needs to pick up the phone. He needs to call him or call somebody, have somebody, the Swiss or even the Russians, tell him that. And that's the issue of will. Are you willing to make that hard call?
Last quick question for you. We're speaking with retired Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg. The President Biden's the message that I continue to hear him say is one word. It's don't. He said it to Scott Pelley multiple times. In my mind, when I hear and see Joe Biden say don't when it comes to whether or not missiles might be coming from a second or a third front in Israel, and he continues to repeat that word, don't. Don't, to me, sounds very different from a President Biden than it does from a President Trump because of the context, the unspoken things that go with that don't. Do you believe that Joe Biden's word there has the weight it needs to have to encourage them to truly don't?
No, because and it doesn't, Annie, because it all is based on your past record, what you've done. You know, when we defeated ISIS, the caliphate the size of Great Britain, when we killed Baghdadi, when we killed Soleimani, now people said, okay, they're serious. When we moved the embassy after Obama and Bush and Clinton didn't do it, we moved the American embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. People said, don't do it. We did it. And I think that's the will that the people have to see. So when you say as a president, don't go there, they believe you. Now, then, I don't think they have a reason to believe them. And that's when you actually pick up the phone and you tell them, we're coming. And that's the Supreme Leader Khomeini understood that. And the reason why that's important in this fight is he really does control, the Iranians, control what Hezbollah does to the north. That is really an Iranian proxy, much more so than Hamas is. And they've got the missiles. And if you want to tell them, don't go there and help Israel out, just basically back off. And since they've killed 30 Americans, you can tell them, we're going to put one through your front door if you don't watch out, because we don't appreciate Americans being killed. And they have to believe that. And I don't think they do right now.
Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg, thank you for your time and your expertise. These stories continue to grow in importance each day, and we're very grateful for your time to discuss them with us.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Bye-bye. We hope to do it again. Former National Security Advisor to the Trump administration and the co-chair of the Center for American Security at America First Policy Institute on Twitter, X, at General Kellogg, 2 L's, 2 G's. We have to take a quick break because when we come back, Congressman Mike Bost joins the Annie Frey Show live from Capitol Hill to tell us exactly what it's like there in the House as they try to select a speaker. We have 20 Republicans voting for somebody other than Jim Jordan. Those 20 do not include Scalise. Those 20 do not include Kevin McCarthy. And those 20 don't include Matt Gaetz. What gives? Will we get it on a second ballot? Congressman Mike Bost on the Annie Frey Show when we return.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
So I want to talk to you about Gateway ENT and how they can help you solve some of those nagging problems that you've been dealing with for who knows how long. If you are suffering this time of year with really bad allergies, sinus issues, pressure, congestion, and it just won't go away, go to Gateway ENT. They're accepting new appointments, new patients right now. It's not complicated to get in. You've created all of these excuses as to why you haven't seen somebody, and I can answer all of those questions and concerns that you have by saying, call Gateway ENT. They have a team of ENTs there. One is just as good as the next, and they're accepting new patients right now. 314-843-3828, 314-843-3828. They are committed to seeing patients in a timely fashion, which can stand in stark comparison to a lot of practices where wait times end up being very long. That's not going to be the case at Gateway ENT, and they are a more cost-effective and convenient alternative to ENT practices that are employed by large hospital systems. Get the top care in St. Louis for your ear, nose, and throat concerns at Gateway ENT. 314-843-3828, 314-843-3828, online at gatewaydrs.com.
Are you ready to smell better naked? I'm Dr. Shannon Klingman, the OBGYN creator of Lumi, the whole body deodorant that's clinically proven to control odor for 72 hours on pits, feet, privates, and beyond. It's pH optimized to safely and effectively control odor anywhere you have it, but wish you didn't. Plus, it's proven to work better than a shower with soap alone. Whether you shower twice a day or 3 times a week, Lumi works better. And did we mention it's aluminum free? With over 200,000 5-star reviews, I'm so sure you're going to love it, or you can return it for free.
There's a special offer for listeners. Use code 500 and get an extra $5 off a Lumi starter pack. that comes with a solid stick, cream tube, free product of your choice, and ships free with code 500. LumeDeodorant.com, code 500 for an extra $5 off a Lume starter pack. Love it or return it for free. That's LumeDeodorant.com, code 500.
I'm a pilot, martial artist, mountain biker, hiker. The thing that brings me down is my feet. When my wife finally talked me into going into the Good Feet store, the salesperson there immediately started investing himself in my problem. And now that I wear the inserts all the time, I'm not feeling the pain. They're comfortable to have in, and it's uncomfortable not to feel them in my shoes because I know the positive effect they've had. This is not something that you could solve online. There's got to be somebody there that can help you find that fit. You put in the arch supports and your day becomes better and the clouds go away and it's a good life. Good Feet has saved the day.
Call now 314-317-9494 or visit one of our 2 locations on Olive west of I-270 in the Plaza with Subway in Shiloh, Illinois, and at goodfeetstlouis.com. Individual results may vary. Consult your physician for medical conditions. Come in and try the Good Feet feeling today. Enjoy comfort, energy, performance, and pain relief. And Good Feet arch supports are proudly made in the USA.
Here's something you won't hear from any other jeweler. Right now, when you buy a diamond at Diamonds Direct, we'll give you a free gold setting for it. Yes, a 14-karat classic solitaire setting in white gold or yellow gold at no charge with any natural diamond purchase. So all your money can go toward a bigger diamond while you still get the classic look she wants in that engagement ring. Another example of Diamonds Direct's extraordinary value. Or if you want to take it up to the next level, Diamonds Direct also has a fantastic selection of halo, pave, vintage, 3-stone, and other popular mountings. Maybe she wants a designer ring like she's seen on social media. Diamonds Direct has those too. In fact, we are an authorized retailer for all the top designers from New York and California. Whichever setting you choose, you'll also be able to choose your finance plan. Diamonds Direct now has a wide range of finance options with attractive rates and terms up to 60 months, so you can get the ideal setting to fit your style with the ideal payment to fit your budget. At Olive and 270, official partner of the St. Louis Blues and proud to call the Gateway City home. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Save $50 to $1,725 and carrier cool cash rebates on qualifying new high-efficiency furnace or HVAC system. For details and to get in your comfort zone, visit aircomfortservice.com.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Will we finally get a new Speaker of the House? We're going to cover it minute by minute until we do Tuesday afternoon.
Weekdays from 3 to 6. The Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk. This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
Everybody else having fun. Well, I don't miss much if it happens on the dance hall floor. Mercy, look what you.
While I listen to the song, I'm imagining Congressman Mike Bost running through the chaos that is the House of Representatives. You might talk about trouble. You got Travis Tritt. You've got Jim Jordan. Kevin McCarthy gets votes. Steve Scalise gets votes. 20 Republicans voted for somebody other than Jim Jordan, but we can confirm here today that Congressman Mike Bost did cast a vote in favor of Jim Jordan, and he is here on the Annie Frey Show right now. Congressman, thank you for the time today. We've been watching the votes come in. Tell us what took place on Capitol Hill so far.
So here's what we've got. Because we had a couple members absent, it didn't take 217. It would have taken 216 votes to actually elect a speaker. As you said, Jim Jordan got 200 votes. I was one of them. Had told and made that promise that I would vote for him, and I did. Then the Democrat got 212 votes. 6 Republicans voted for McCarthy, 7 voted for Scalise, 3 voted for former Rep. Lee Zeldin out of New York, 1 voted for Mike Garcia, 1 voted for Tom Emmer, 1 voted for Tom Cole, and 1 voted for Tom Massey. Now, we understand, we did adjourn. We have not been told when we're going to come back and talk conference again to try to figure out where we're going to go from here. The scary thing was, I was trying to watch, and whenever I was talking to others, many of the people who were of the 200, maybe as many as 5, said that was the vote that they told they would give for Jim to try to get the government running again, but would not give him a second vote.
Oh.
So that means his numbers are going the wrong direction, and I wish that wasn't the case. He'll have time to try to work the votes, to try to bring, there are two of the 20 I understand that might go his way, but then there's 5 others that go the other way. And it's very frustrating because, I know that you and I spoke at an event earlier this week, and I told you at that time that, look, we've got a ship without a rudder because of what Matt Gaetz did in the 8th. We have now raised up Scalise, and that one didn't work, and now we've got Jordan. So now do we go to other people? But while we're doing this, you've got the problems that are occurring in Israel and what we need to be doing and why we need to actually have our house operating. We're not working on the farm bill that has to be done by the end of the year, and if it doesn't get done, we revert. That farm bill goes back to 1947 language. We have more of the budget to pass and get that passed. We're coming up on the time that we did for the continuing resolution where government will shut down if we don't have some kind of vote made before that time. So there's all kinds of issues out there, not counting those issues, which there are the issues of oversight and the continuing the investigation on the Hunter Biden as time is running out on that. Many of the charges and things like that because of statute of limitations, even though we can still do our hearings at a later date, but we've got to do it right now. And there's, but all of that's been held up.
Yeah.
Our issue on the border, the list goes on and on, Annie, about what we're not doing. Why? Because of these 8 that voted with the Democrats in the first place to throw Kevin McCarthy out, and us trying to come back to find which speaker would take this.
So Congressman Bost joining us right now. He has just come off the House floor as he voted for Jim Jordan, but Jim Jordan failed to secure, as we've learned here from Congressman Bost, the 216 votes necessary to secure the speakership. 7 votes for Kevin McCarthy, 6 for Steve Scalise. If he were to able to get those 2 factions to come over to him, he'd still be 3 short of the 216 necessary. As I understand it, Kevin McCarthy and Steve Scalise have both voted for Jim Jordan. Matt Gaetz has voted for Jim Jordan. At this point, the American people that I speak to, and I'm one of them included, think, knock it off, get back to the business of the American people, right. Stop making these sort of grandstanding points. We understand it. Right. You don't like what Matt Gaetz did. Matt Gaetz didn't like what Kevin McCarthy did, but we have work to do. Are they going to change?
Exactly. I hope so, but we've got to find that person that I think both the Steve Scalise vote and what they did to Steve and what they've done to Jim is each side, taking their ground and then taking it out on the other. So now the question is it someone else? Because there are the people that are fairly high number that are saying never Jordan, just like there were certain people that said never Scalise. And so what is that person? Who is that person that can lead? Because understand, being speaker is not easy. And I can remember when Paul Ryan took the speakership, and when he was agreed to do it, it's an automatic. Your life's over because you're never going to appease everybody.
Yeah.
Trey Gowdy, I think I told that the other night to you that Trey Gowdy, back whenever Boehner was having people don't vote for Boehner, Trey Gowdy was from a very conservative district. He got up and seconded the nomination, and he said, I'll have people ask me, why did you second the nomination? Why did you second the nomination of Boehner? Well, it was to punish him. Because anybody who gets it is automatically public enemy number 1.
Yeah.
They have their own group, but they're trying to work to herd the majority into a place where we can advance the ball. I thought Kevin was doing a good job. That's water under the bridge. We did a lot of things under Kevin. He was able to move. I believe Steve Scalise could have. I believe Jim Jordan could have. But we have to get back to work, and we can't get back to work until we get that 217 or 216, depending on what the people are that are present.
Yeah, I'm looking at these names, the 20 that voted against Jim Jordan, and As you know, Congressman Bost, we've discussed this before. There are some people in the House of Representatives and in the Senate who find themselves in front of cameras quite often, but they don't represent the whole. There are 435 members of the House of Representatives, and there aren't a lot of names on here that are super prominent names that a lot of people might know. It just seems to me like their names are going to be out there. They're going to be drawing a lot of ire from people who are going to be very frustrated with them holding up and obstructing the system. And here's the other thing that I will add to it, Congressman. I'm getting a lot of feedback from people who are Democrats, who follow the show, who comment on the show, and they love this. They are infatuated with this chaos.
Sure they do. Because let me tell you that if it wasn't for the vacating the speaker's chair, you look at the list of things we were getting done and how Biden was failing miserably. It doesn't matter whether it's on the border. It doesn't matter his reaction. I'll give it where it is. I think Israel should be handled a little bit different. I'm glad the carrier groups are there. I'm glad for that. But we have to have a strong leader in there. Let me tell you also, you know, when we had Kevin McCarthy had some of the highest numbers of any national politician, which doesn't happen with Speaker, by the way. Mm-hmm. So now, here we were ahead, and now the more this drags out, the worse it is for we as a party.
Yeah, that is evident. I see that from both Republicans and Democrats alike. Last question before we let you go. We're speaking with Congressman Mike Bost, who has voted once for Speaker so far today. He cast his vote for Jim Jordan, who was the nominee from the party. And Jim Jordan failed to get the required amount to become Speaker, so they will have to have a second ballot. What happens next here? Do you anticipate another strong show of support for Jim Jordan? McCarthy's still in it? Scalise's still in it? Where do we go from here?
Here's the thing. We're going to have a conference because, like I said, I saw that there were certain people who voted for Jim Jordan this time that it looks like it'll go the opposite direction. The question is, does Jim feel that way? He's going to go out and try to work these votes, or at least I hope he will. I will give my vote back to Jim if he is our nominee. Whoever our nominee is, we need a speaker. So, but here's what's really wild, and people don't understand this. There are certain things that when you come in as a freshman and you're in the majority, there's three things you do. One, you don't vote for a motion to recommit done by the Democrats because that is a procedural move. Two, you always vote for the rule, okay, because the rule is not the bill. It is actually allowing the bill to be brought up. And three, when you get a speaker vote in conference, whether you voted for them or not, you go to the floor and you vote for them because that makes you solid as a conference. We don't get that, and we don't have that with this group, and I don't understand why.
I said last question before, but I have one more because people are asking.
Okay.
Would you accept the speakership if they nominated you, Congressman Bost?
Let me put it to you this way. Why would you want to punish me that bad?
I don't know. It's they're asking. I'm totally throwing them under the bus.
I am no.
Hey.
Let me ask my wife. Tracy said no.
Yeah. I talked to Tracy this weekend, and I think she would say no. But I'm telling you what, the people support Mike Bost for Speaker. I'll take anybody at this point that you can get people behind. Okay. Congressman, thank you for your time today. We're grateful for it.
All right. Thank you, Annie.
All right. Bye-bye. He says it's a punishment. We need somebody, anybody with a couple brain cells to rub together that really loves the Constitution. That's really, I mean, what more do you need? Let's take our expectations and bring them down here. Haven't most of us done that for Congress already? I shouldn't have said that about the congressman because I like Mike Bost. I think he's fantastic.
Yeah. I worry we spend an awful lot of time. I see this on the Republican side. We spend an awful lot of time looking for the perfect person. And guys, I got bad news for you. That person doesn't exist.
I think we spend time looking for holes to fall into that we can't get out. And when we can't find one, we're like, hey, let's get some shovels.
Yeah. Let's keep digging.
What a disaster. Doofuses. That's the word I use in my house around my children. It means something else. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to get a little Wiggins America in here. We're going to continue to follow the news as it breaks. As you understood there from the congressman who was not on the floor voting for a second ballot, they've gone to recess. They need a conference, and they need to get their act together. Make it so. Trouble. I had to slow down for a second. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Your mama must have been another good-looking honey too. Hey, hey, good L-double-O-K-I-N-G. Well, I smell T-R-O-U-B-L-E.
Windowworld.com. If you have any questions about replacing the windows in your home and you need more information before you're ready to make a commitment, maybe you don't even know how much it will cost, you can call Window World at 314-993-1800. 314-993-1800 and get a free in-home estimate. When you give them a call, you will learn about why so many St. Louisans like yourself have chosen Window World to replace those old, drafty, broken-down windows that are in their homes and why you might want to do the same. One of the reasons why a lot of people choose Window World is the lifetime warranty that comes along with that purchase. Covering all parts, glass breakage, and labor, you can trust and have confidence in your window replacement windows. They also offer 18 months same as cash financing. It's an investment, of course, to replace the windows in your home. But when you have to replace one or two, you might want to do the entire front-facing part of your house, or maybe even more than that. The 18 months same as cash financing helps you get through that purchase so you can get everything done at one time with a very great quality window with people who you trust at Window World. 314-993-1800. 314-993-1800. Call my friends at Window World. Find them online at windowworld.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-700-6898. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898 or biglou.com.
Hi, this is Brian with Velocity Home Buyers, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 314-782-3333. I can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. I buy houses in any condition and any price range in the St. Louis area. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy more. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that needs updating, but you don't have the time or money for it? Great, because I love buying outdated houses. I buy vacant houses, job relocation houses, and foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 314-782-3333. That's 314-782-3333.
It looks like wood, it feels like wood, but it's maintenance-free. It's luxurious James Hardie siding. And during Banner Construction's 30th anniversary event, you get same-as-cash financing on Hardie products and Pella windows. Let Banner Construction transform your home into the envy of the neighborhood. Call now and have Banner's design team give you some great options and a free quote. 314-569-1050. Online, bannerconstruction.com. That's 569-1050. And have a banner day. I can see clearly now thanks to the doctors at Ophthalmology Associates. Doctors Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, Andy Royer, and introducing Samuel Berry. You can too. Call 314-966-5000 or check out youridoc.com. That's youridoc.com.
I'd almost like to see a line graph of how your response to this question is changing even by the moment throughout the show. Let us know. YouTube live chat poll is, did Matt Gaetz do the right thing? Yes or no? We are following the speaker vote as it is happening today. The time right now, 1:42. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Searching for truth in a world of angles, positions, and outright lies. This is 97.1 FM Talk.
This is the night. This is the rhythm of my life. This is the rhythm of the night.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter @Annie Frey Show.
What is the most underrated musical instrument?
What is?
Uh-huh.
It's probably the synthesizer drum.
I am going to say saxophone.
Oh, no.
Yes.
It's good. It's good, but I don't think it's underrated.
Oh, I do.
Trombone.
I think in this generation, there's not a lot of saxophone being put into music these days.
I hear you.
And I love it every time.
It feels
I'm a huge
trashy.
Bill Clinton fan.
It makes me feel gross, like I need to take a shower.
Oh, man, you just haven't heard good saxophone then.
No, wait a second. Where are you hearing bad saxophone?
Well, I think all saxophone makes me feel a little oily.
All he thinks about is, what is
Careless
Whisper.
Yeah.
That's all he hears when he hears saxophone.
That's fantastic.
I'm saying that is epitome of good saxophone. It still makes me feel that way. Now
I feel that way. Just thinking about you feeling that way.
Now let me back up the drum kit that's not a real drum kit. Have you ever seen some dude just wailing on a fake drum kit? It is fun to watch.
I'm kind of frustrated with the evolution of, first of all, like if you're a real drummer, mad respect to you, and then it goes to drum kits in the 80s. Now it's just computer systems. I need a beat, and you just manifest it. Like you're not even playing a drum kit that's like if you were listening to it not in headphones, it'd just be like pit 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 pit, and then it sounds like really cool in the headphones, but not so much.
One of the worst concerts that I think I could ever go to would be a DJ, because they just are pressing a button. They're acting like some of them act like they're spinning and they're not even really doing anything. They're just pressing a button and then kind of dancing around the equipment.
Yeah, I have never experienced that. I'm looking at theories as to why you think that saxophone makes you feel dirty.
Oh, is there science on this?
I don't know.
I'd love to know.
Wiggins America?
Wiggins! Oh! Wiggins!
I wouldn't call it science.
Well, it's on the internet.
The science.
Must be true. What I have here for Wiggins America is, I'm going to call it elsewhere in D.C. This is all news that's happening around Washington, but is not necessarily associated with the speaker stuff. First one is involving the Supreme Court. It says United States Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett says it would be a good idea for the nation's highest court to adopt a formal code of conduct. Barrett was speaking at a University of Minnesota Law School event yesterday night, but declined to estimate how long it might take for the Supreme Court to arrive on a consensus about what its own ethics should be. But she says, I think it would be a good idea for us to do it, particularly so that we can communicate to the public exactly what it is that we're doing, and in a clearer way than perhaps we have been able to do so far. She says, I will say this, there is no lack of consensus among the justices. There is unanimity among the 9 justices that we should and do hold ourselves to the highest ethical standards possible, unquote. Any thoughts about this? Any thoughts that they should be doing this or shouldn't be doing this?
The reason everybody's talking about this is because of all the hoopla surrounding Clarence Thomas. But, nobody ever wants to talk about how Ruth Bader Ginsburg got kickbacks and all this other stuff. There is way more dirty things that have gone on with SCOTUS justices than whatever they're accusing
just
Clarence Thomas of. So would it be wrong if there was a code of ethics? No, I think that'd be a good thing. I don't think this is unreasonable. But I also don't want to be okay, now we can just impeach Supreme Court justices because of our interpretation of this code of ethics, how they didn't follow it. This is that's what it's all about, right? Getting rid of justices so that we can replace them with our guy.
Yeah, and this is a CBS News report. This isn't like a right-wing news report saying all of the justices have come under intense pressure over ethics after it came to light that several justices failed to report lavish trips and gifts. I don't think that this is a bad idea at all, especially since, like you said, Brad, this would be more of an internal code of conduct that they could themselves hold themselves to.
Yeah, how do they hold one another accountable?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that other than to say that I would think they already have a code of conduct, that they would be amplifying that or making it clearer maybe than it is right now. Elsewhere from the Beltway.
What is a rock flute?
Okay.
Oh, rock flute. Didn't Ron Burgundy play the rock flute?
Is it just playing the flute kind of hardcore?
Is it like Lizzo? Lizzo's big on the flute.
I mean, delineate here.
Mm.
I'm not sure. Tell me, Brad.
What am I telling you?
What am I? Is rock flute just something that's like a more intense version of flute, or is it a particular instrument?
No, I think it's a style of play with the flute that goes along with rock music.
Okay.
So it's not like a synthesized.
So it's not
flute.
its own flute.
It's not a flute made out of rocks.
No, I assumed it was like an electric flute.
I don't think so. It's
Not
not
a
the key.
mic.
It's not a keytar. It's not like a version of a flute.
Bob says there's not enough bagpipe usage out there, and I might agree with that.
Yeah, I do.
I'd be okay with that coming into rock music for once.
Timothy says using the flute during rock songs.
I think
Which
Timothy's
I felt
right.
like if I said it like Forrest Gump, it would make me understand it more.
Rock song.
Did it work?
Yeah, I get
Yeah,
it now.
you got it. Okay.
Flintstones use the rock flute? I see. Said that out loud before I got it.
Yep. Good job, Timothy.
Next up, leave me alone. I've done a lot of things today. It's all downhill from here.
Yeah, I can see.
I have a certain amount of brain cells that I get to use in a given show, and I am over.
Yeah, I mean,
It's done.
you have
It's a lot.
packed a full 2 days worth of show into this show so far.
Yeah, I'm not going to be here tomorrow.
It's been intense.
We were booking guests while we were interviewing guests.
Yeah.
Congressman Bost texted me back while I was talking to Keith Kellogg, and I had to like essentially throw my phone at Brad, be like, "Here."
Yeah, she's got a really big phone because if I don't catch that hits me in the head and knocks me out.
Yeah.
Then we don't have a board op. That would
And that's the problem, not your health.
yeah, that's exactly what I said.
2 top Democrat organizations filed a lawsuit Tuesday challenging a Republican-backed North Carolina election law moments after it went into effect. The lawsuit, which was filed by the DNC, both of North Carolina and the national DNC, tackles multiple aspects of this North Carolina law that basically just seeks to make sure that you are who you are if you register to vote the same day you want to vote. So if you show up on November, whatever it is this year, November, what is it, 10th, 11th, something like that? That's just a guess. It's November something. It's whatever that Tuesday is.
5th?
Maybe. I'm just saying numbers. Whatever it is, the election day, if you show up on election day in November 2024 in North Carolina, they would require you to show now a couple of photo IDs and address verification requirements. The DNC is suing because they say that is inappropriate. That is too much. That's too much of a burden on people who literally are registering to vote as they're voting that day. And the quote that I pulled, this is
Doesn't
great.
Illinois already do this? You can register this
Day of.
Can you? I've never
yeah.
registered day of, so I don't know. I'm already
Well, it's 'cause
registered ahead of time.
I've never registered day of.
I guess I could.
You are registered.
I am.
You
I
don't
know.
have to
I've
re-register.
I've always shown up, and I'm already registered, so I've never tried it.
You can register day of, and I don't think you need anything.
I know that I've tried to give them my ID when I voted, and they say, no, sir.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Like, really? Can I just show you that I am who I am? But in North Carolina, Republicans have, and by the way, they have a Democrat governor in North Carolina who vetoed this bill already, but there's enough Republicans, they were a supermajority, they overruled his veto. They have deemed the law necessary to improve election security, while the governor, Cooper, on Tuesday blasted it as a means for manipulating elections to entrench their power. And North Carolina, here's the quote, North Carolina Democrat Party Chair Anderson Clayton condemned it, this law, as an all-out attack on democracy itself.
Attacks on democracy are getting kind of tired.
Yeah. Boy, they sure are, aren't they?
Nobody's very good at it.
What do they call this? The soft bigotry of low expectations?
Oh, that's fancy.
That's very nice.
You should have asked me that in the beginning of the show. I can't process
They call it
now.
rock flute.
Listen, you can't ask people to have an ID whenever they come. You can't ask somebody to prove they are who they are when they come to register to vote because that would be too difficult for them and that might deprive them of their rights. That's the argument. That's the argument from these Democrats.
Can we get somebody in here who's passionate about this?
It's so stupid.
Steve? Trisha? Yeah. It's amazing to me that the good news, guys, all these attacks on democracy, they've failed. We made it.
Wow.
We're still here. How about this one? I couldn't believe this when I read the headline. Biden campaign is joining Truth Social. How about that? The Biden campaign Monday joined Truth Social, the platform founded by President Trump, pushing its message on a platform largely dominated by the former president and his followers.
He's going to get so many followers on Truth Social. And he's just going to get ratioed into oblivion every post. It's going to be great.
If you want to follow him, at Biden HQ, Biden headquarters, their first tweet was, well, let's see how this goes. No?
Their first truth.
Oh, I'm sorry. Their first truth. Well, let's see how this
Hard to even
goes.
say out loud.
Converts are welcome, they said. I think it's smart. This is a good move for them. I don't know why you wouldn't do this. I mean, they're going to get lambasted.
Oh, they're going to get blasted, but it's publicity. Publicity.
Say your smart quote again.
No. I'm done with that. That was my last brain cell.
Sneak one more in here from the Beltway. This is about Speaker Jordan. This is the Senate GOP. This is from the Hill saying that they are warming to the idea of a Speaker Jordan.
This is a very timely story. Thank you for doing it after they voted not to elect him.
Well, I mean, we don't know. We'll see.
No, we literally know.
We don't know for sure if he's done, do we? Like, is he off the table?
Nobody. McCarthy's not off the table.
Well, that's my point. Is it not? We'll see.
Okay. Go ahead. You have 2 minutes.
Saying there's a chance.
Let's see. A couple people from the Republican side of the Senate, like Senator Tom Tillis, said
It's good that the Senate isn't in favor.
Here's their quotes, though. We just need effective leadership. We can't have this nonsense of a handful of people questioning a speaker every time we have to deal with difficult subjects, and we have a lot to deal with. I hope the Jim's up to the task. It doesn't really sound like it's a strong endorsement of Jim Jordan himself.
It's
as
also
much as
in the Senate.
Yeah.
Which
yeah.
means as much as it means for you to support Jim Jordan.
Well, I mean, they have a larger platform than I do a little bit. But they say Jim they think he's evolved. He's gotten generally good feedback. They said he used to be a little bit more extreme. Tom Tillis says, I don't know that I know him well, but I met him a couple times, and I would be glad to see him basically as Speaker of the House. So are we going to see Jim Jordan as Speaker of the House?
I'm sure that makes Jim Jordan feel really good.
Tom
at
Tillis,
1:56 p.m.
Jim Jordan just tuned in, and he's like, oh, good.
I just lost the Speaker vote, but that guy over there in the Senate says I'm okay. He didn't say I was great. He said I was better than nothing.
I really thought that by the end of today we'd have a Speaker Jordan, but now
today's not over.
Today's not over.
I don't know. After listening to you talk to Mike Bost, I just don't know. Guess we'll have to see. Good interview. Just praising you. I'm just giving you some praise.
Your story, thank you. Yes, let's take a break. Go vote in the YouTube live chat poll. Did Matt Gaetz do the right thing? Yes or no? We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
Get a pen. You'll want to take this number down. Okay, you have health insurance, or you don't have health insurance, but you want health insurance at a reasonable price, right? Well, you won't find it with Obamacare, where you can only sign up once a year. With their high deductibles and limited networks, you need to talk to an expert. Kim Kiefer at H&L Agency can help. If you pay for your own health insurance, or your employment coverage is just unaffordable, or if you have a few employees, you could be saving 30 to 60% if you qualify. Couple Couples under 65 are saving $500 to $1,000 a month with better coverage. Go to hnlagency.org and get a quote today. We all need quality health insurance at an affordable price. Call Kim at 800-975-2841. That's 800-975-2841. Or go to hnlagency.org. And is spelled out. That's hnlagency.org. A quality plan managed by you, not the government.
Stewart's American Mortgage at 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. You can call or text him and talk to him how the bagel loan can be helpful to you. He calls it the bagel loan because when you're going to get a mortgage and you know those closing costs, they kind of pile up there right at the end, right before everything is signed, sealed, and delivered. If you want to skip that portion, those closing costs, that could be thousands of dollars, you need the bagel loan, and you can only get it with Stewie at Stewart's American Mortgage. His personal cell phone number, 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. Will help connect you with the best deal in the business of getting a mortgage. And if you have been referred to somebody else who is doing mortgages, get a second opinion with Stewie and see if he can save you money. This is a big commitment that you make when you secure your mortgage. You want to make sure that you're putting yourself in the best financial position possible. It starts with a phone call or a text to Stewie. 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. You can Google the bagel loan and MLS number 226715.
We've been here 30 years, 30 Christmases in this house, and we have the traditions that most families have.
That's Terry talking about her experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We did Rhino Shield 14 years ago, and the house still looks the same as the first day. Rhino Shield really worked with me to help me get just the right nice soft yellow, and it's 14 years later, and it's the same color.
The main reason Terry called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by its 25-year transferable warranty.
It just sounded wonderful that we could have the house coated with Rhino Shield and not have to worry about it again for 25 years.
Take it from Terry. Give Rhino Shield a call now for a free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO or visit 877-25rhino.com.
There have been neighbors that have come by and said, "Did you just have your house painted?" Because they wanted to know who the contractor was. And I said, "No, it's actually Rhino Shield."
877-25rhino.com.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
They're not on the same page yet. On Lisa Brady, Fox News.
The chair declares the House in recess, subject to the call of the chair.
No one winning a majority in the first vote for House Speaker since Kevin McCarthy was ousted from the post 2 weeks ago. More than a dozen Republicans voting for several different people, including McCarthy, leaving the newest nominee, Jim Jordan, short of the majority needed, though he did get the most Republican votes. 200.
I've always been told in the House of Representatives that 200 vote threshold, even though you need 218 to move most bills, 217, 216 maybe today, that 200 vote threshold is very important psychologically. And had he come in even just a little bit lower, below that, then maybe the gig would have been up for Jim Jordan. But he did come in at 200. And the thing for Jim Jordan now is that he knows who opposes him.
Fox's Chad Pergram on Capitol Hill. Some Jordan supporters telling Fox News they're concerned his prospects may get worse during this recess, not better. Still, a spokesman for Jordan says it's time for Republicans to come together and to expect another vote today. The health ministry, run by Hamas in Gaza, is reporting hundreds of people killed at a hospital that Hamas says was hit by an Israeli airstrike. Canada's prime minister responding to questions a short time ago, calling the reports devastating and unacceptable, though there are also claims it might have been a misfire by Hamas. Israel is investigating.
This hospital is in Gaza City itself, and according to reports anyway, it's one of the places that civilians were seeking shelter, not just the wounded. There were people there who were already wounded, and this is one of those hospitals that they said they weren't going to evacuate simply because people were in too bad of shape and they couldn't get them out of there.
Fox's Mike Tobin in southern Israel. This is President Biden prepares to travel to Israel and Jordan. Just getting a report that Palestinian leader Mahmoud Abbas is canceling a planned meeting with the president. America is listening to Fox News.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
This could be the start of a break-in.
Stop. This is Simply Safe.
Or the end of one. Introducing 24/7 Lifeguard Protection, only from Simply Safe. Now, monitoring agents can see and speak to intruders through our new indoor camera to help stop crime in real time and for fast police response. Get 20% off any new system with Fast Protect monitoring at simplysafe.com/radio. Advanced home security, 24/7 professional monitoring for less than $1 a day. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
A very enjoyable weather afternoon on this Tuesday. Sunshine in control. 68 should do it for the high. Tonight, clear skies. Out of the 60s into the upper 50s this evening. 45 for the low. Wednesday, partly sunny. A little bit warmer Wednesday afternoon, 72. A couple of spotty little light rain showers around Wednesday night and Thursday. Do not expect much. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Okay, so you filed your taxes this year, but you know you have past IRS issues. And now the IRS letters are coming. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. Don't ignore those IRS letters. They're important and give you rights and deadlines to defend yourself. Waiting could cause you to lose those rights. Call the Lance Story Law Firm now and let us help you get ahead of the IRS and defend your rights while you still have time. The Lance Story Law Firm is located here in St. Louis, so take the first step and hire a tax resolution attorney. We've made it super easy to schedule your free consultation in person, or you can do a phone call and save travel time. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Story Law Firm. Call today at 314-238-7360. That's 314-238-7360. Or go visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
When you are looking to retire, you want to make sure that the financial sacrifices you've made are going to be there to pay off, and so you can enjoy that time in retirement. Everybody has a little bit different plan. Everybody goes through their careers, and maybe you weren't able to start saving for retirement as soon as you wanted to, but you made all of the effort you possibly could once the possibility existed, and now as retirement is upon you, you want to make sure you can make that shift. That's where the Retirement Advisory Group comes in. 314-993-9494. Call, or you can reach out to them online, 314-993-9494, online at retirementkey.com, and set up an appointment. It's really that simple. It doesn't cost you anything to sit down with them, to listen to what they have to say. They're going to listen to where you are and what your goals are, and then you can create a plan on how to get there. They know how to do this. They know how to usher you through those last few years while you're working. Maybe you've just gone into retirement and you're looking for this type of assistance right now as it is. It doesn't cost you anything to sit down. Just go schedule that appointment today. 314-993-9494, online at retirementkey.com.
You wouldn't trust a butcher to babysit your pet pig. You wouldn't trust a lumberjack to repair your antiques. Or a professional wrestler to be your massage therapist. So why would you trust anyone but AMCO to fix your car? For over 50 years, we've been the trusted experts in transmission repair.
AMCO offers easy payment plan options for most any credit situation, so you can fix it fast and pay it off slow at AMCO.
AA MCO.
Exergen thermometers are a top choice of medical professionals at highly ranked hospitals across the U.S. Accuracy matters, so make Exergen the chosen thermometer for your home and family. Available at Walmart and other participating retailers. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing. Together millions of things for our planet. After Halloween, your used jack-o'-lantern and other gourds are great additions to any compost pile. When we each share our one thing, it becomes a million things for our planet. What's your one thing?
Fact-checking the fact-checkers daily. St. Louis's home for conservative talk. 97.1 FM Talk. This hour of the Annie Frey Show is brought to you by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom.
It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
The modern GOP would never vote for Jesus. I mean, he was soft on Samaritans and commanded everyone to sell their possessions and give the money to the poor. The guy was clearly a socialist. He was worse than a socialist. He was a Christian. Cut your hair, you hippie. Put on some pants. Leave the sandals back at your yurt, comrade.
It makes me think that maybe Colbert doesn't really understand two things, Christianity or America. To make that sort of ignorant, just substandard insult the intelligence of everybody who is listening, who does understand what makes America great and what does make Christianity so important and so, I'm going to use the word freeing, because maybe freedom is the one thing that those two things have most in common through a secular and non-secular intersection. We're following a lot of news as is happening right here on the Annie Frey Show. We watched and listened as the speaker vote commenced earlier today at about 11:45 a.m. We broke into Kilmeade coverage and brought that to you, and we'll continue to do that should they vote again. I know that I just spoke with Mark Reardon out in the cafeteria area, and he is going to be covering that, of course, as well. We spoke with Brooke Goldstein, who is with the Children's Rights Institute. The Lawfare Project has a book coming out, End Jew Hatred, a Manual for Mobilization, in April. You can pre-order that now, about some of the anti-Semitic, the rise of anti-Semitism in our country, but across the globe, of course. And then we spoke with Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg at 1:05 to talk about the latest of what's taking place in Israel. The developments that have happened here that we're finding out within the last hour is that a hospital, in Gaza has been bombed. The questions are where it was bombed from the ground up, from the sky down. Details will continue to be revealed, but it looks like a great amount of tragedy taking place once again in that area of the world. They have our prayers. When Colbert is saying that the modern GOP would never vote for Jesus, there are two things that we have to discuss. We have to discuss the modern GOP, and then we also have to discuss Jesus. And since I think that I would like to talk about the Jesus thing first, since Colbert brought it up, if anybody is talking to you about Christianity and they're talking to you about all the things that you need to do to be a Christian, make sure that all of that comes after the idea of every single thing that you can do and will try to do will never, ever, ever, ever amount to enough. I mean, that's the whole point of Christ, which is the first 6 letters in Christianity. Colbert doesn't want to talk about that because the idea that we are all broken individuals, that we are all riddled with disgusting sin from the moment of conception, the idea that we are born into sin, we are broken, we are never good enough. There's no individual fall for each of us individuals. We are broken, sinful people because we are in a broken, sinful world. The idea of Christianity has to grasp that understanding. There's no amount of perfection and there's no fraction of perfection that can exist in a person, that can be acquired by a person, that can be levied on a person. There's no amount of that will ever be enough to absolve you of the brokenness that comes with sinfulness. Now, this is what I believe as a Christian. I understand if you're listening to this and you're an atheist, you're agnostic, or you're Jewish, or you're Muslim, you're saying, okay, this is what Christians believe, but it's not what you believe. I'm not telling you what you believe. I'm telling you what I believe. And I'm telling you what Christians believe. Anybody who comes to a conversation and wants to throw Jesus in there and start making Jesus, wear one of those political uniforms, the red one or the blue one or the green one or whatever else is laying around, they aren't trying to make a point about Christians. They're trying to make a point that is relative to their position in a political fight, which is so incredibly far beneath, impossible to even see from the importance of where the Jesus conversation takes place. But I'm glad he brought it up because now I get to talk about it in context, which is a blessing. Thank you, Stephen Colbert. When we talk about whether or not the modern GOP would vote for Jesus, the actual sense there implicates that Jesus would ever require a single effort or vote or endorsement from any one of us lowly, broken people. It doesn't follow. It's ignorant. There's no connection there because that's not how it works. If you are somebody who is a Christian, you probably know this. If you're somebody who has known Christianity, maybe you're not a part of it anymore, or if you're somebody who doesn't involve yourself in it at all, let me just explain what the whole point is here on the Jesus thing. The idea is that I am a broken, damned to hell individual. That's where I'm going until the blood of Jesus saves me from my ultimate fate. The only thing that saves me from that is Christ. And the idea that I have been saved, because I'm telling you what right now, I have. The idea that I've been saved brings me the greatest kind of joy that man can know, and woman. But you know what I mean. The idea that I am saved from an eternal damnation, that's like super capital G, capital N good news. If you were destined to a fate and you were plucked out of it, not because you did anything, but because somebody came and swooped you and scooped you out of it, you'd be pretty happy, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you be filled with joy? Wouldn't you want to tell people how great that person was? Wouldn't you want people to know how grateful you were? That usually manifests itself in kindness. When Christians talk about doing good works, you do that because you were first loved by God. That's really the way it goes. It's not so that you can be loved by God, because God is bigger than that. That's the difference here. And when Stephen Colbert wants to bring Jesus into it, imagine this for a second. Stephen Colbert is willing to insult Jesus so he can also insult Republicans. That's a bold statement. It's really stupid, too. The idea that Stephen Colbert wants to say that the modern GOP wouldn't vote for Jesus is to tell you how bad the modern GOP is. Well, I mean, like in the Jesus context, yeah, they're all going to hell until Jesus saves the one who believe in him. But that's the same thing for Democrats or anybody of any political affiliation across the entire globe. Because we're not talking red and blue when it comes to Jesus. We're talking about maybe, the red of his blood that saves us from our sins, but that's pretty much where that ends. So now that I got the Jesus stuff out of the way, which is probably not a sentence you're supposed to say. Now that the Jesus stuff has been made clear, let's talk about the modern GOP. Let's step out of the non-secular world into the secular world, because this is an also particularly disgusting point by Stephen Colbert. Stephen Colbert suggests that the modern GOP doesn't want to feed hungry people, doesn't want to shelter homeless people, that the modern GOP is this curmudgeon-y, I'll do everything myself, kind of a group of people who doesn't want to lend a hand, doesn't expect to help the people who are in their community, doesn't expect to show up and be present and be involved and be helpful and identify problems and solve them. Can we please get back to the understanding, the idea that what Republicans and conservatives are supposed to stand for is ultimately incredibly limited government? Can we please get back to the idea that if you identify a problem out there in the world right now, I'll take one of my soapbox issues. I'm incredibly pro-life. I think women are being led down a path of destruction because they're not provided science. They're provided the science that makes them feel like they're empowered if they were to, eliminate the one-night stand that resulted in the life of a child that they didn't plan, nor do they want. So what we end up having is an entire industry that preys upon those women, keeps them from understanding the truth about what is actually going on, persuades them to murder their baby that maybe 10 years down the road when they conceive once again and they get to that 13-week point where they can take a blood test and find out that clump of cells that they empowered themselves to get rid of 10 years ago when they weren't in a solid relationship, 10 years down the road, you're telling me that's my son that I'm carrying in there right now? What's the difference besides 10 years? Those women are smart enough to understand what they were hoodwinked into doing. Because there are people out there right now who need to make political point after political point every single corner they turn. So if I sit here and I say, you know what, I live in Illinois, it's the most pro-abortion state in the union, and they're trying to figure out new inventive ways that they can celebrate their abortions. Folks, we are not a pro-choice state. We are a pro-abortion state. And if you don't know that yet, you should read the law that is in place right now, started by Katie Stewart, that Reproductive Health Care Act in the state of Illinois. State Representative Katie Stewart, big sponsor of that, big fan of that in Madison County. And that passed maybe 5-6 years ago. If I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, you know what, let's say Illinois State Representative Katie Stewart, who's a big fan of it, it's grown since then. That's a Democrat seat that is still held in Madison County in the State House. We really need to get a Republican in that seat so we can actually affect change. Am I going to sit on my hands until a Republican gets elected to that seat to make a difference? Because if I do, then I'm just as bad as the rest of them. Because what Stephen Colbert is saying, that Republicans don't vote for Democrats because Republicans don't want to help people. Republicans and conservatives need to remember that the best kind of government is limited government. And if you can find yourself at a clinic and helping a woman, hugging a woman, providing a woman a pack of diapers, which the Annie Frey Show has shown up to help support quite a bit here in the last couple months. If you can provide resources, if you can provide volunteer hours to a neighbor in need, then you are being the hands and the arms of the American people. And if you are a Christian person, if you're a religious person, you know, the hands and arms of God, whomever that might be to you, I know who it is to me, you can be that in action. And it is the most anti-conservative Republican thing to just sit around and fret about the next election, which is what, 385 days away, November 5th of 2024. 385 days away. Oh, I hope we elect Republicans. Think of all the dead babies that are going to occur between now and when we get good legislators in there. Maybe you could make a difference in somebody's life today or tomorrow. Maybe there's somebody in your neighborhood that's hungry right now who needs to go to the pantry because inflation is out of control and they can't afford to feed their whole family, and they've done everything they could. They're too proud to go, but they're going to have to go soon because they need to feed their family. Maybe you can donate canned goods. Maybe you can volunteer at that pantry. Maybe you can be a part of a solution and forget about everything that has to do with government showing up to help, because Colbert doesn't get that. And Colbert is relying on complacency with Republicans, with conservatives, to continue to fight their game, which is whoever controls the government controls the people. If Republicans continue to fight that game, then they've already lost the game before the game even begins. Because the way that Republicans win is when the American people fight the battles. We don't wait for Republicans to get in Congress who can't even decide on one person among all of them, who they're willing to suffer through leading the Republican majority in the House, which is super slim to begin with. Are we going to sit on our hands and watch our communities crumble around us and wait for government to show up? St. Louis, are you going to wait for Republicans to run the city? If you are, it's time to leave, because that ain't happening. Stephen Colbert is ignorant when it comes to America and when it comes to the Christian faith. One of them makes me concerned for this country. One of them makes me concerned for his own personal religious understanding. I don't know if he's Christian. I don't know if he's Jewish. I don't know what he is. But he sure pretends like he's an expert, and he knows nothing. And in this day and age, you don't really have to know a whole lot in order to make those types of comments, to make those types of assertions. If you think that you can judge another Christian by their actions because you see their Christian behavior and you see them mess up and you think that makes them less of a Christian, the question is, are they doing these good works so that they can get somewhere, or are they doing these works because they've already been there? And Christians need to do a better job of having that conversation openly and honestly so people can understand it more. It doesn't mean you're going to convert people left and right. That's not even what I'm trying to do here. I just want you to understand. The people who get the Mary Poppins Christian measuring stick out to find out exactly how practically perfect we are in every single way, when you're measuring us against our own good works, that ends up the same every time. The perfection that is pursued by Christians is only there when Jesus is there. That's the Christian faith. If you are a Christian, that means you are an admitted and forgiven sinner. It does not mean you're perfect. It does not mean you will ever be in any earthly way perfect. But you will be made perfect, and you believe that. To suggest that somehow or another it proves that somebody isn't a Christian if they sin, I invite that person to study the Christian faith a little bit more. And for Republicans who are out there, and Colbert included, who's not a Republican, he was a fake one for a while, I think. For those people out there who call themselves conservatives, remember, we cannot afford to sit around and wait for good Republicans to get elected to big government. It hasn't helped us yet, and it's not going to help us in the future. It's got to start with you, to the point where you say, forget about them, we're going to handle this ourselves, and get that power back where it belongs, with the American people, and out of the hands of an overbloated government. And as you are working hard, and as you are pursuing helping one another within your own neighborhoods and in your own communities, every time you walk up to make that help, to provide that help, and you get a big fat roadblock because of some government regulation, now you know where the government steps in. Now you know where the Republican ideology and the conservative constitutional ideology comes in, to make sure that the government isn't out there to hinder the people. We can get back to that, I think. I would like to see it. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll get to some more discussion here on the Annie Frey Show. Also, highlight a few of your comments on the YouTube live chat poll. Did Matt Gaetz do the right thing? Yes or no? I haven't looked at the results yet. I have no idea how this one is going to come out. We've got some of your thoughts as well to highlight, and we'll do that when we return. We'll be right back.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe. Follow Annie on Twitter @AnnieFreyShow.
TheDiamondShop.net. You can go on to TheDiamondShop.net right now and sign up to be a VIP, get access to special savings, alerts for savings that are coming up. But right now in October, 50% off all diamond studs. You can also, when you purchase your diamond studs, get a free jewelry cleaner with purchase if you're a VIP. They have the trade-in and trade-up event. So if you have invested in some diamond studs from the Diamond Shop, you can go in and trade those in for a nicer, newer pair, maybe a little bit bigger, something shinier. And when you do that, you are going to spend at least $1 towards your new purchase is going to be applied to that trade-in. You are going to be able to save in a really, really awesome way. Potentially get your starter set of studs for somebody for Christmas. And when you go to the Diamond Shop, and you can always trade those in and get that full value towards the next pair if you trade up, that's a pretty cool opportunity for people right now. Beautiful pieces of jewelry, a family-owned and operated business, been in St. Louis since 1910. They're in Clayton right now, and they're waiting for you to stop by. Find them online at TheDiamondShop.net.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to experience something paranormal, supernatural, or unexplainable? Join host Jack Wagner on the podcast Otherworld as he explores spine-chilling real stories shared by everyday people who have experienced something unexplainable. Listen each week for first-person testimony from people who have come face-to-face with something that can't just be explained away. Listen and follow Otherworld, an Odyssey podcast, available now on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
I was having a lot of sinus infections. My sinuses were clogged, pressure, headaches.
Linda suffered for years with chronic sinus infections.
You don't feel like doing anything. When you feel like your head is completely clogged, all you want to do is just lay down and sleep. And the pressure, it's just not fun, always walking around with a headache.
Now, her issues are gone. How? A minimally invasive procedure done in the office of St. Louis Sinus Centers called balloon sinuplasty.
I really did not know what it was like to feel like you're really breathing and not being so clogged up. I would do it again in a heartbeat, and I would definitely recommend it for someone else.
Do you suffer with chronic sinus infections, facial pain, pressure, congestion? Find out if balloon sinuplasty is the solution for you. Set an appointment today with St. Louis Sinus Centers. Call 314-332-2885. 314-332-2885. That's 314 332-2885.
Get ready, folks. Lakeside Renovation and Design is thrilled to invite you to our showroom grand reopening event on Saturday, October 21st from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's the remodeling event of the year. Unlock massive savings at our event thanks to exclusive partnerships with top vendors and suppliers, delicious catering from Sugar Fire, and fantastic giveaways throughout the day. Turn your remodeling dreams into reality. Mark your calendar for Saturday, October 21st from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Lakeside Renovation and Design, where your dream home becomes reality.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisor Group. Are you worried about market volatility? Are you concerned your money won't last you through retirement?
Hi, I'm Tammy Kershaw. As a family business, we are committed to protecting your retirement, whether you're nearing retirement or already retired. I have many female clients and widows that don't fully understand their investment choices. Would you like a retirement review and a second opinion on your current retirement plan? Are you aware of all the fees that you are currently paying, and would you like to learn how you can avoid those fees? Call us now at 314-993-9494 or go online to retirementkey.com. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. Let us show you how to retire with confidence.
We've been helping retirees and pre-retirees for the past 37 years. Let our family help your family. So go online to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Fall is here. Make sure your furnace is ready to safely heat your home when cold weather arrives. Get in your comfort zone with the heating system check. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
We've gone out a few times. You ready to put a ring on it? Download the Odyssey app and listen to 97.1 FM Talk on your phone or by telling your smart speaker to play it. This is St. Louis's home for conservative talk. This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Instagram at The Annie Frey Show.
So the YouTube live chat poll for today is we currently do not have a Speaker of the House. They tried one ballot. 20 Republicans chose not to vote for Jordan. So nobody got it. So they'll have to go to a second ballot. We spoke with Congressman Mike Bost at 125, and he kind of told us what was going on and where they are right now. You can check that out on the Annie Frey Show podcast. Our YouTube live chat poll for today is, did Matt Gaetz do the right thing? Yes or no? Richie says Gaetz did the right thing. McCarthy did not keep his word. We have, let's see here. Doug says Matt Gaetz did do the right thing. It's not his fault the Republicans in the House are divided in a very obvious way. It's more of the failure of the Republicans in Congress. What do you think, Brad?
I am still of the no category. I don't think Matt Gaetz did the right thing. I think Matt Gaetz, whenever he negotiated this tactic, he was dreaming about employing it whenever he got the chance. I still hear the argument, if not now, when? And I know that there's no perfect time to do something like this to make change, but there are worse times than others. Could Matt Gaetz have predicted that, Israel was going to be attacked and then there would be a war in Israel? No, I don't think he could have done that. But at the same time, if your concern is really the 12 spending bills, the individualized spending bills, if that's what you wanted and you didn't want continuing resolutions and all that other stuff, why on earth would you change the business of the House so that you couldn't get those through when you're on a budget crunch time? When you're on crunch time, you're up against a deadline. The thing that makes it most likely that you're going to get a continuing resolution is running out of time and just having to do something so the government doesn't shut down. I understand where he's coming from. I want the same things that he wants. Now wasn't the time. Sort it out. Let McCarthy finish the case against himself by running through a continuing resolution and then throw him out. Wait for him to finish the case against himself. Now was not the time. It is not the right thing to do.
What do you think, Ryan?
Man, I would love to sit here in a month and be able to tell you, because I think hindsight's going to be 2020 on this. At this moment, I'm going to say no, simply because I don't think that there's much of a plan here, and I'm not sure that there was a plan going into it and how to achieve the things that even Gaetz has said he wants to achieve. I don't know that that's going to happen here. So I don't know that it's the right thing at this point. I'm going to say no.
I find it important to also emphasize isn't it funny how everyone's talking about, like, it's not even fun to be the speaker anyway? I was like, all right, shut up. I hear you. Like, you're trying to, we're now into persuading people to vote for people for speaker because this is what you do to your enemies. Okay. All right. I got you. But at the same time, Kevin McCarthy, I know for a fact personally how much time and effort he put into fundraising across the country with his time and with his organization to making sure that in 2022, we had Republicans who were funded to try to win seats. And if you look at the red wave that didn't happen in 2022, the place that still, other than Florida, the place that still enjoyed the most success was the House.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a lot of work to be the Speaker of the House and to go through and do everything that needs to be done. And I think in that regard, Kevin McCarthy did effectively help the Republican Party. I'm not team Kevin McCarthy. I'm not team Jim Jordan. I'm not team Steve Scalise. I'm team any of them. Just agree to one. And Matt Gaetz should not have done what he did if he didn't have a plan. If he didn't know that if he pursued this, because when people are voting against Jim Jordan, they're not voting against Jim Jordan. They're voting against a process. And I can't believe it because their names are out there. I mean, if you're somebody in that district, if it were, I looked at it to see if there's anybody that looked like they were around here, and I didn't quickly, while I was on the air, identify anybody who seemed like they were in our area here, but they got to be feeling the heat right now because this is hugely consequential. We have a president and a commander-in-chief who yesterday 93% of you said is not calling the shots. We don't have a Speaker of the House. The House can't do any business until we get one. If the Republicans in the House have to force a vote because something incredibly crazy happens and they have to go back and vote one of these people in, maybe it's Kevin McCarthy, maybe it's Steve Scalise, maybe it's Jim Jordan, maybe it's Byron Donalds, who I've said for a while would be fun to watch do this. If we get backed into a corner and have to do that then, it's not going to look foolish. It will be foolish. Get it together. Who do you think it's going to be? How are they going to get out of this?
Man, I don't know. I don't know, because it seems like there are probably 90% of Republicans in the House that are like, all right, let's go with this person, whoever. Yeah, let's go. And then there are those that are like extremely on the right and those that are extremely moderate. And those two groups are the groups that are holding everybody up.
We're not going to win the 2024 election if those two factions can't get together and agree.
They don't act like they're on the same team. And that's what's so frustrating to me. If everybody's rowing the boat, nobody has time to rock the boat. And it would just be nice for Republicans, despite their differences within there, which is a hallmark of conservatism, individualized ideas and stuff like that. We're allowed to have this, but we have to understand that we have to be able to make some concessions. That's what negotiation is. You give a little, I give a little. You get 60% of what you want, I get 60% of what I want. We get that. We walk away. We've made a deal. They're incapable of making a deal with one another, and it's frustrating.
We have somebody on our YouTube who goes by the guy in the bunny suit, which I can only assume is the Easter bunny that hangs out with Joe Biden. Except for he's got his picture there, or a picture. He said, if you voted no, I hope you feel the same about any congressman blocking any winning vote. And I think we've been pretty I think we've been pretty consistent on that. Yeah. I've not been in favor of Matt Gaetz, but I was willing to sit there and say, all right, you're going to do this. I hope you thought this through. And right now, I'm still in the I hope you thought this through part of this equation, which leads me to think that, no, he didn't do the right thing. Is what Matt Gaetz is doing considered Trumpian?
Yeah, I never really would have thought about it that way, but I think so. I mean, he's kind of just throwing gum in the gears for the sake of doing it. Although Trump seems to have a little bit more of an end game most of the time than right now it appears that Gaetz does.
Donald Trump supported Kevin McCarthy. Donald
Right.
Trump supports Jim Jordan. Matt Gaetz. So many times people would say, you had a private conversation with Mr. Trump. What can you tell us about that? And he's like, I'm going to keep my private conversations with Mr. Trump private, but I'm confident that I'm in a really positive place. And it was so like, I don't know, high school boy talking about, I'm just going to take that in a bad place. Things that didn't happen in a way that leaves the conversation like possibilities exist. But you know what you did? It took you 4 hours into a 5-hour date to hold her hand. So we know.
That's not scary, Annie.
We know. Yeah, I know. But I kind of look at the Matt Gaetz thing, and I think that most people who aren't like super into the conversation, or people who just generally detest Donald Trump, Matt Gaetz is in the Trump camp. I actually think that this disarray looks Trumpian and could culminate into a series of events that ends up hurting the Trump obstructionist, swamp cleaning mentality, because you can't, if Donald Trump gets elected president, and I hope that he does, if he's the nominee, absolutely, I'm going to vote for him if he's the nominee. If Donald Trump becomes the president and he goes in to drain the swamp, you can't just pull all the things out and not know what you're putting back in. I trust the America First Policy Institute, who we have on regularly. They have a plan put out. The Heritage Foundation has a plan put out. There are all these places and people who are like, if we get it back, let's be day one, masterclass ready to effect great change. And I trust that the Trump administration would do that. But Matt Gaetz is making me think, if you're gonna, air quotes, threaten this kind of disruption should the Trump camp get elected, you better be on your game more than what this looks like, because this doesn't seem thought out.
I'm glad you said that about the organizations with Trump on the day one, because I've seen the same thing, and that's what I'm banking on with Trump. That's not what I'm seeing right now with Gaetz.
Yeah, but when you say you're banking on it, you're hoping.
I'm hoping. Yes, I am. I mean, because day one of his first term, it did not look like that. And it was very chaotic as far as his personnel and his priorities. I mean, he stuck to his word. I mean, I'll give him that. He was always gung-ho about sticking to the things that he wanted to get done and didn't really change them a whole lot. But the way that they got done, I am assuming that he would do that differently in a second term.
Absence Matt Gaetz and all of this nonsense, this wouldn't even be a conversation.
You're
it wouldn't
right.
be something that you're thinking about. But when you are looking at, truly what we need to have happen, we need to have a Justice Department where justice is blind and everyone truly how do the Democrats go? I'm not a Democrat, so I don't say this as much as they do. No one is above the law. We need to get to that point, and it needs to include Democrats not being above the law. We need people who are going to go into these bureaucracies and say, all right, who's next? And then move in and get the system back to the people, not to the bureaucracies, not to the establishment people whose feet have now grown into the soil in Washington, D.C. We need that. And I hear people all the time say Donald Trump's the only one who can do it. I don't believe that to be true, but I believe he can do it in his own unique way that would be effective. But because of what Matt Gaetz has done, and because I think that he is adjacent to the MAGA movement, the Trump people, that he would be giving some people pause that, hey, if you're going to pull this type of complete and total ship-rocking maneuver, you got to know what happens in the bottom of the ninth before you step up to the plate in the top of the first, because it doesn't appear as though he did. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's some 7D chess going on, and I am playing checkers, and I will admit that this does look like checkers to me. And I would like to be proven wrong and sit here and go, wow, these people are geniuses. I have not arrived at that point yet.
In Vegas right now, if I'm in Vegas right now, and I got $100, and my sole goal was to get back as much money as I could by placing it on somebody, I'm putting it on Scalise.
Okay.
You?
I think Jim Jordan's going to get it.
You do? Still? Yeah, okay.
I think the only person who's going to get it that's not Jim Jordan is Kevin McCarthy, and that's why we're here. There's no way that Matt Gaetz can support Kevin McCarthy, and there's no way that those 8 who started this whole thing can come back to support Kevin McCarthy.
Yeah.
Kevin McCarthy would have to make promises to meet their needs, and he already made those promises to get their vote one time, and according to them, he didn't meet them. So what changed? They're pot committed, since we're using Vegas terms. I'd like to go play poker right now. All right, let's take a quick break. Give us your votes and your comments in the YouTube live chat poll. More Annie Frey Show here in just a few minutes.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter @Annie Frey Show.
When you go to myslim180.com and sign up for a consultation, it's going to be free. And when you mention Annie, you're going to get 20% off the program you sign up for, if it's a nutritional guidance program, the Crave program, or the Regenerate weight loss program. I also want to talk to you about how you can access semaglutide or tirzepatide, which are both available right now at Slim180 for a fraction of the price that you're going to pay at the pharmacy. Go to myslim180.com and set up a free consultation so you can find out more information about how you can start to lose the weight and get yourself on the path to a healthier version of you. Eliminate that joint pain, the achiness, the inflammation, and get on a plan to success. They have HC drops or injections. All programs that they offer include unlimited one-on-one counseling, guaranteed life-changing results, losing up to 3 to 5 pounds per week. And the best part of it, for me at least, has always been the fact that you can shop for your foods at the grocery store. They have individualized plans for success, and those plans include you calling them or getting online right now to register for that free consultation to get the process started. You can find them online at myslim180.com.
If you need a new bath or shower, call my friends at Bath Fitter of St. Louis. Mark Cox here. We love our new shower and tub enclosure. It looks fantastic. No demolition, no mess, and a lifetime guarantee. Right now, they're having a sale for 20% off up to $1,000 or zero interest until 2028. That's 5 years. Call 636-338-1648. That's 636-338-1648. Bath Fitter of St. Louis.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-700-6898. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898 or biglou.com.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon from my friends at Zero Res, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm going to say it. Is your home ready for the holidays? They are going to be here before you know it. And you need to be honest right now. How does the carpet look? How does it smell? Maybe you have a carpet disaster. We're going to do something about that here. Don't hire a deal of the day carpet cleaner. Don't try to do it yourself because it's not going to work out. I want you to hire Zero Res because they are experts here. They have a 4.9 rating on Google with over 4,900 reviews. They have the Zero Res Gotta Love It guarantee. That makes it easy to get what you pay for. They stand behind every cleaning. I've experienced it time and time again. Right now, the 97.1 special is 3 rooms, Zero Resified, starting at just $129. Also this month, take $50 off the air duct package. Call 314-474-2020. Go online to ZeroResSTL.com. Tell me you want the Mark Reardon special. Refresh, restore, and protect your investment. Call Zero Res also to clean your business the right way so your floors and surfaces stay cleaner longer without the harmful chemicals the other guys use.
Hey, it's Bo Matthews, and if invasive plants and trees have overtaken your pasture, roads, trails, or dams, then you need Missouri Brush Control. Their special forestry mulching equipment helps landowners reclaim their property. Enjoy your land like you've always dreamed of. To learn more, visit MissouriBrushControl.com.
We just talked about it, but what do you think? Did Matt Gaetz do the right thing? Yes or no? That's the subject of the Annie Frey YouTube live chat poll of the day. Let us know what you think and leave a comment as to why you think Matt Gaetz either did or did not do the right thing. It is 2:47. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Tim Kennedy is with us this afternoon. He's a retired UFC veteran.
There's clear rules of warfare, and if we are pretending that Hamas is a legitimate government, the things that they are currently doing are absolute war crimes.
Weekdays from 3 to 6. The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
If you're blue and you don't know where to go to, why don't you go where fashion sits? Putting on a Ritz. Perfect type to wear a day coat, pants with stripes, and 'cause a waistcoat perfect fits. Putting on a Ritz. Strolling up the avenue, so happy.
Follow Annie on Twitter @Annie Frey Show.
Dressed up just like an English chappie. Very snappy, come let's mix where Rockefellers walk with sticks and umbrellas in their midst.
Sorry we're a little delayed. Ryan Wiggins demanded a root beer float, and we had to wait for it to get delivered to him.
It's in my new contract. Every single Tuesday at 2:40.
Do you have anything about your actual compensation in your contract, or is it strictly a root beer float contract?
Oh, no, it's a sugar-based contract. Yeah, it's not about money at all. It's never been about the money for me. It's always about the candy.
He has the Little Debbie store in Roxana negotiating for him.
Yeah, they're my agent.
Have you visited them yet?
Have I visited them yet?
Have you visited them yet?
Yeah, 3 times.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Do they know you?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
They knew you, too,
Did
from
they?
when you went in.
Good.
Yeah.
They were very
said-
nice.
They said, thank you for the increased business.
Did anybody go there after that?
Yeah, I just went there Friday again, the 3rd time. And she said, I don't know if I ever told you, but quite a few people came and visited us after you guys were talking about us.
Super secret. Don't tell your Democrat friends. We're the people who pay for our fudge rounds.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yes.
It really was the most timely thing. Fudge rounds are Little Debbie, right?
Yeah.
When what's-his-face comes out.
Oliver Anthony
comes out and was like, no food stamps for fudge rounds or something. And Little Debbie was like, what the heck? Like, what did we do? We're just making yummy treats for people. And we don't care who eats them or how they enjoy them. Just buy them. And then we stumbled across the Little Debbie store in Roxana. And they'll take your money and they'll give you Little Debbies.
Some guy at Little Debbie just sits there all day and he looks at their treats and he goes, how can I add cream to this? and then how can I add layers to this? That's his only job.
He usually defaults to in between another one.
Yep. And
another one.
It's a go-to and it works.
Just stack them and
Guy's
glue
a
them together.
Genius.
Does everything have a double-decker?
I don't know if everything does. The oatmeal cream pies do, and the fudge rounds do. I don't know how you do a double-decker Star Crunch. I just don't know.
Well,
But
they're thinking about that right now.
That's
You know how
that
you
guy's
do it?
job.
You put cream in the middle of it, and you stack them together and smush them.
I guarantee you, I would eat that.
Yeah, you and your discerning palate?
I'll try anything once
Mm-hmm.
if it comes from a pastry chef.
Like Little Debbie. USA Today is talking about cell phone etiquette and how it's changed. How well do you think, how etiquette-based, Ryan, are you when it comes to cell phone usage?
I am a bit of a loud talker on my cell phone.
Were you only talking caps?
No, not text. I mean actual talking on my phone.
You still do that?
I walk, yeah.
He's so loud that I'll be in the kitchen out there and he'll say hello and I'll turn and say hello to him back.
Oh, I didn't know that has happened here. Now I'm embarrassed. That happens at home a lot. Well, I have to go in the basement or outside because my wife's like, go somewhere else. You talk too loud.
Evolving rules of modern day etiquette. So here's a few tips before we get to the results of today's YouTube live chat poll, which you can go hustle and vote in. Number 1 is text before you call.
Nope.
You don't. Here, 2 questions. Do you do it? Should other people do it?
I like it, and I do try to do it, especially if it's somebody you don't talk to regularly. But if it's somebody you talk to at least weekly, I'm not texting before I call you.
Brad?
To me, I'm a default texter, so if I call you, it's emergency. So I'm not really thinking.
Yeah, if you call me, I'm picking up. I assume if I call you, you're picking up.
Yep.
Can you watch my dog this weekend? And I mean, like, that is a legit emergency when I'm saying that. According to Gottsman, who owns the Protocol School of Texas, said you should now text someone before you call them. He said it's a social courtesy that allows the receiver to let you know if they are available. If they don't respond, you can assume it's a bad time to talk. I am a huge fan of this etiquette.
I have experienced a lot of that in booking guests. That the person that I'm working with, if we're having like a lot of texts, they're like, "Hey, can I just give you a call?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure."
Yes, but you're asking. You're texting first.
They text me first to see if they can call me sometimes.
Yeah, that's nice. It says exceptions. It's okay to call first if you're reaching out to family or friends.
There we go.
Or if it's an emergency.
Yeah, there we go.
Also, you don't have to pick up if someone calls you and it's not a good time. When's it okay to leave a voice message?
Only if the text would be super chunky. If you're going to leave a chunky text, I'd rather just hear it on my voicemail.
When is the right time to leave a voicemail? If you ask someone in their teens, 20s, or even 30s, they will likely say never. I am 39 and I am in the group. Text me the info, like the most basic info, and be like, you can call me back to discuss. Gottsman also says it's never okay to leave a long-winded voicemail and agrees most don't get listened to. Do I have one right now? I almost always have a pending voicemail. And it is like it hurts inside to have to listen to it. I don't know why. It's not right. Is it okay to randomly FaceTime someone? This is something young kids don't understand. You can't just video call somebody, and my kids can't just answer it. In the house. No, absolutely not. But I don't know that is something that I think they just do it. They don't care what they look like either.
I don't really know what the video call adds these days. If you're in a meeting, maybe.
I don't have time for that.
But yeah, I'd just rather just talk to you on the phone.
Is it okay to FaceTime in public?
No.
Oh, man. My husband and I are FaceTiming in public all the time when he's in Walmart and he's shopping for something.
That makes sense.
Okay, that's different. I wasn't thinking about that. I was thinking like somebody just calls you at a restaurant or something.
I am talking to anybody on the phone that I don't need something from or they don't need me for.
Oh, I take pictures of things in stores and send them to my wife. Is this the right thing? Maybe you should FaceTime before. That's a good idea.
It's good. And then it says, what does it mean when someone is phubbing? We've talked about this before. It's snubbing people with your phone. Start being more present around the people you're around. You know, there was a thing that went around for a while that when your phone is out on the table, it should be face down so you can't see it. But if I am in mixed company, I try very hard to have my phone out of my sight so it doesn't distract me at all. I have a watch that tells me if something comes through, but what?
Nothing.
I can't find my watch. Somebody know where my watch is?
It's a bit of a cheat, though, isn't it, if you got the watch?
It's not a cheat. I think it's respectful.
Then you still know that you're getting
code.
stuff. It's cheat code.
Yeah, but the point
makes it an advantage.
The point isn't to not know what's going on. The point is to be respectful of the people I'm with. And if I look at my watch and I see I have an emergency text message from my husband because my kid got hurt at school or something, I'm going to know to step away, but I'm not going to be checking my phone. I think it's more respectful to the people you're around to just check the notification and go, I don't need to deal with that now, or to go, excuse me, and then to excuse yourself to use the phone. No? Maybe?
Maybe. I'm going to get a watch.
You should. They're great. I wish I had mine. I can't find it. Since I got back from Peoria, I haven't had it on.
Oh, no.
All right, on our Annie Frey YouTube live chat poll, did Matt Gaetz do the right thing? Yes or no? We have over 200 votes in today's poll, and the results have come back. 65% of you say no, that he did not do the right thing. That's quite an interesting result there. 35% saying yes, he did. It will be interesting to see if that does change. Like Ryan said multiple times, we'd like to have a little more time to assess this. I don't know how it's going to shake out, but they better get their act together soon. Right now, it looks like we are awaiting the next vote on the new House Speaker. If you have it on 97.1 FM Talk, you are in the right place. Mark Reardon's going to pick it up from here and bring you the news as it happens. Do not go away.
Want from me. I'm not a Mary, but
It's Mark Reardon. There is a ton going on this Tuesday. We're going to get to it after Fox News. A hospital bombed in Gaza. Also, still no speaker. All that and more coming up.
Gateway ENT online at gatewaydoctors.com. That's gatewaydrs.com. Your ear, nose, and throat concerns are taken care of when you put yourself in the great hands of the doctors at Gateway ENT. My husband has gone to see Dr. Hardiman. Lots of people that I know, I've recommended them. They've gone, and issues that they've been dealing with for quite some time, Dr. Hardiman just ends up fixing them. The other ENTs that they have there, as experienced and knowledgeable as Dr. Hardiman, the whole team and the whole staff there, they are fantastic at addressing these issues that are plaguing you right now. Don't act like you have to deal with these things that you have maybe had for years, maybe even decades. When it comes to ear concerns, nose issues, or throat worries, when you go to see one of the ENTs at Gateway ENT, they're going to be able to get you in quickly. They are a private practice, so they refer based on what is best for you. It is an affordable and convenient way to care for your ENT concerns. Schedule an appointment at 314-843-3828 online at gatewaydrs.com.
Hi, it's Guy from the Good Feet store. Listen, if you've been suffering with knee, hip, or back pain, I've got news for you. The problem may be right under your nose. I'm talking about your feet. Think about it. Your whole body is supported by your feet, right? So if they're out of alignment, that could cause issues, not just in your feet, but your knees, hips, even your back. The Good Feet system helps put your feet in your ideal position. And once you do that, everything from there on up just might work better. I'm sure you've been frustrated trying all kinds of things to relieve a foot, knee, back, or hip pain, but maybe the solution was right in front of you the whole time at the Good Feet store. Just stop in and meet with one of our specialists who will personally fit you with the perfect arch support system. They'll let you walk around, try it for free, then you decide if they work for you before you buy. How great is that? Call 314-317-9494 or visit one of our 2 locations in Creve Coeur and Shiloh, Illinois, and at goodfeetstlouis.com. Find what you've been missing at the Good Feet store.
At Odyssey, we believe in casting a wide net to create a diverse and inclusive workforce, as we value the power of community and encourage local organizations to help us in referring qualified applicants to our stations. If you're a community organization interested in receiving our vacancy information, simply email equalemployment@odyssey.com